what I foretold. I don't wish I work, I don't talk, I convert. You flex for a moment online, I invest long term. Used to dream in a small room, now the whole world my boardroom. You play safe for approval, I move reckless with fortune. Every doubt made me sharp, every loss made me harder. You was praying I fall, I would fall. No ceiling, I rise. You can see it in my eyes. No ceiling, no cap. Every setback built that. No ceiling, say less. Pressure heavy on my chest. You can hate from below, but I'm down. Pretty face, boss mind. I don't wait for green light. You stuck asking permission. I redesign timelines. You chasing followers heavy. I'm building equity steady. You lie for the internet. I'm loud in the ledger already. They copy the flow and the cadence. Okay, take patience. You rehearse what I live naturally. That's the difference in greatness. While you hoping and wishing, I'm executing the vision. You think it's small town goals, I'm thinking global possession. It was nights I felt small, but I never felt finished. Now the glow hit different, limitless ambition. No ceiling, I rise. You can see it in my eyes. No ceiling, no cap.
Come on, guys. Where we at? Where we at, you guys? Where we at?
That shit heavy on my chest. You can hate from below, but I'm down.
So anyway, I don't know. What I think happens, the algorithm will start bringing people in until I start talking, because otherwise it's going to be copyright. Shout out to China Styles, the creator. Hopefully you guys have my sound. Let me go check and make sure I have a good sound check here.
They said the sky's the limit.
Let's check my sound.
They said the sky's the limit. They said the sky's the limit. They said the sky's the limit.
Let's see.
They said
Okay, good. We got our sound.
they said the sky's the limit.
Yay. All
They
right.
said the sky's the limit.
So,
They said the sky's the limit. They said they said the sky is the limit. They said
I think I have my chat open. I don't know you guys. I'm on my channel.
they said the sky's the limit. They said
So, we're gonna see how this question and this Q&A goes. Yes.
They said the sky's the limit.
Where is my?
They said I need a little range.
All right. So, you guys, what I wanted to do here, while the commercials are playing, I wanted to do a question Q&A for you guys to come through and ask any questions that you had on webcamming. I just hopped on. I said, why not? Any questions that you may have regarding webcamming. Again, let me check. I don't know if I have my chat box open. Key to see. I don't have a moderator. Hide all chat messages. Still learning how this thing works. So again, before I begin, just as an intro, my name is Jelena Nails, in the industry of webcam modeling. You guys know me as also Jay or Janae, and I'm here to basically just be chilling for a little while. Excuse me. If you have any questions regarding webcamming, being a webcam model, being that I've been in the business for over 16 years, here is your time and opportunity to ask, because I'm going to be paying attention to the chat this time. I would prefer you, of course, to be 25 years of age or older, but you must be 18, but I prefer you be at least 21. Okay, somewhere in the middle, as it relates to being, again, a webcam model. I don't think I'm going to be asking, I'm not going to limit myself. I was going to say, I don't think I'm going to be going in the way of, because I I used to mentor women in the business, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to really mentor. More so direct versus guide. I think that's a different type of thing, right? So with that being said, so if anybody have questions, see, anybody have questions on, um, you know, how to get started, real basic, how to get started, what's the best site to work on, what's the best site to work on, in fact, I'll just go ahead and do the live, and you guys may not come through, but for those that will see the replay, make sure you go ahead and follow, subscribe, push all the fancy little buttons and stuff, so that you'll be able to get more videos like this. Again, I just hopped on, but I'll give you the top five right quick. Top five questions are usually: number one, how much money can you make in the business? Number two, what's the best site to work on? Number three, do I have to show my face? I know I'm like the back of my hand. Number four would be, how can I, what would be, back in the day, I used to get what schedule you can work, but I think people nowadays understand this is a commission-based job. It's a job when you log in whenever you feel like logging in. So I'm gonna go down the list of the answering these questions while I'm here. Okay, just why not? So we're not sitting in just air. So the first thing is, what did I say, y'all? How much money can you make in the business? That is a very popular question, a reasonable question to ask. And I've said this 1,001 times too. I'm not a numbers girl. I'm not a, regarding to, as because we start talking numbers and we start talking about estimates, we start talking about numbers basically. And I have a learning disability or difference with numbers. I have dyscalculia. So talking about numbers too much can overwhelm me, right? But I can at least simply say this much, and make it very to the point without adding actual and factual numbers into the conversation. This is again a commission based job, so you normally don't make money unless you log in, unless you show up to work. You don't make money. Now, of course, there's other ways to make money in the industry, like content and things of that nature. And now I think on StreamMate they even have it where you have phone, where the men and the guys can call you when you're offline, and you can make money like that too. Keep in mind, you guys, I started off in the adult entertainment field as a phone sex operator, out here in California and Hollywood many years ago. Many years ago. I was 18. And so one of the reasons why I think I sit in the business as a webcam model for 16 years, and my primary shows are non-nude, is because, and again, I don't have no issues with nudity, right? There's a difference between being naked and nude, right? So I don't have a problem with being nude. I have a problem with being naked, and you can be naked, fully clothed. So just thought I'd throw that in the bucket. But as it relates to one of the reasons why I think I do well or have great potential in the business, because I started off as a phone sex operator. In other words, I started off in the adult entertainment field with having my clothes on and running my mouth and talking and listening and talking for a long time. And the goal in phone sex, again, we're not talking about phone sex, but the goal is to keep the guy on the phone as long as you can. Webcam modeling works in the same way. Keep the guy in the private show as long as you can. Also, if you think about it, when you talk about content creating and tying that into the industry as well, even content creators, even going live, you have to keep your audience engaged. You have to keep them wanting to stay, right? You have to entice them enough, so to speak. Even as a content creator, you have to be able to do that to keep them engaged, to keep them there, to keep them still, to keep them coming back, and right. So it's a timing thing. So as it relates to money, you make your money. You make your money by, number one, showing up, right? And number two, there are various ways of making money. How much money you can make, at the end of the day, it depends on you. It really does. It depends on your consistency, right? We talked about that the other day. It depends on you being consistent. It depends on how much you show up. It depends on how much you are there. And go ahead and thumbs up the video if you guys could, so it can get out there to the right people. Go ahead and subscribe. I would appreciate that if you press the little buttons. I don't know if you have long nails like me and you hard to push those buttons. I don't know. But if you could, and I appreciate that. And make sure you thumbs it up as well. Look at my little thumb compared to this one. Whichever one you use, okay? Anywho, so when it comes to basically how much money you can make in the industry, again, it's up to you. It's how you show up. It's the consistency. Number one, showing up. Number two, how you show up. When I say how, that means that you're engaging with your guys. You offering what it is that you're offering. So again, I'm not going to dive into how much money as it relates to the numbers because every webcam model varies differently. Male cam models, which you're going to come back and talk about male models in the industry, solo or single women in the industry, couples are in the industry, groups are in the industry, studios are in the, you get what I'm saying? So, um, all different types, the LGBTQ, sweetly saying that is in the industry. There is room for everybody to be there. And depending on, again, what your audience wants, what your client wants, what you offer, is going to be based on how much money you make. And again, always keeping in mind that this is a commission based gig, right? So even if you offer the bestest thing to your client and you show up 100% ready and you have a great attitude and you're engaging and all that, and guess what? There are some times in the business that you make zero. Well, you might, yeah, there's been times I made zero and showed up 100% ready, zero. And guess what? Because it's a sales based job and a commission based job, the next day, the next hour, you log off for an hour, you log back in, and here they come, right? Because sometimes it's timing. And for those that are more on the spiritual side of things, like yours truly, sometimes it's just like it's a seasonal thing. It's an energy thing. It hadn't fell from the universe for you just yet. So you hop back on. So that was the first thing as it relates to money. There are women now. I have to make this mention as well. There are people who say, not people, but sites who do advertise that the average model can make up to $500 a week. That's been the rule. $500 a week. That is very plausible to do. But that's with working a regular shift. What is a regular shift, in case you're asking? In the webcam modeling industry, it is recommended to at least put in your 3 hour minimum. 3 hours. 3 hours. Now that doesn't mean 3 hours you're just sitting there straight still without any breaks, of course. You could take a 15-minute break. You can take these, but 10-minute break, stretch, whatever. In fact, if you're coming from StreamMate or on StreamMate, they have literally a pause button that you pause your show and you pause your show and it's for 10 minutes. Okay. So anywho, so if you guys again are over hopefully 21, I would hope 25 is real good, and you have questions regarding the business, make sure that you go ahead and ask. If you see this replay and you have questions in the comment section instead, go ahead and do that. And again, I love answering questions via the little audio reply button that they now have right here at YouTube. So what was the second question? So again, they're not in no specific order. They're off the top of my head, which is people ask again, number one, how much money do you make? How long, I guess, do you have to stay on? Like I just said, 3 hours is the minimum. It's preferred. I mean, but if you can just log on an hour, sometimes I've logged in for just an hour and end up staying on 4 hours. I logged in thinking, oh, I'm only going to log in 30 minutes and end up logging in longer. You see what I'm saying? Depending on how the rhythm of things go. But minimum, especially starting out, you want to start out, give yourself a chance to get to know the site, get to know the interface, get to know, because every site's ran differently. When I say interface, for those that don't know, or how sites are ran, like right here at YouTube, what I'm looking at, you guys don't see the same screen, but when people log in, let's just say you log into your social media, for every platform you've gone to, every platform is made and designed differently, right? So it's a good idea to just kind of like learn your way around the platform. Where's the chat box? Kind of like the whole little, give your own self a little tour guide kind of thing. So you can get familiar with the buttons, you get familiar with, all of it. So that is one of the things. And I'm gonna get back into my music, right? You guys, I'm gonna jam off with my music. Now, the only thing with doing this live is that I don't think you could play live. I don't think I can have the music in my live. So I'm not gonna turn you back on, because that was enough in the beginning. But I don't think I can have it playing throughout the duration of my live. So we're not going to even chance it. So moving down the list, number two, and I'm gonna just give five. All right, we're gonna do five. Number, just in case somebody may or may not come on, but I'll just keep it flowing. Number two would be One of the questions, top questions that are asked is, can you hide your face? I don't think that said that was number two, but again, not no specific order. But number two is, can you hide your face? Now, I'm gonna just tell you how I feel about it. I guess you could put a mask on. I understand you want privacy, but when I used to mentor women, one of the main reasons why they wanted to hide their face is because they didn't really want nobody to know what they're doing, because it was also associated with the obvious, which is shame, guilt, embarrassment, uncertainty, and not necessarily, oh, because I don't want somebody to walk down the street and say, hey, right? It was coming from a different foundation. And so with that being said, if you feel like you have to hide your face, because hide, the people I used to mentor, they would say hide. They would never say, can I wear a mask? That's a different type of language. Hiding is hiding. You get what I'm saying? So I've never had somebody say, can I just show my feet? That would make sense. Can I just show my feet? Can I just show? But when you literally tell me you want to hide, then I'm going to say, well, maybe this is not the business for you, right? So to answer your question, I suppose you could cover your face with a mask, cover your face and do, lower the camera, whatever. But eventually, I will tell you this much, eventually, you are going to, in fact, I have a story time for you guys about a man who was a webcam model, and I used to mentor men. That's another story, but I'll get into that later on as it relates to this very topic right here, regarding hiding your face. And so I say that to say, people will eventually want to see you. They're going to want to see you. I can't tell you how many times, especially if you already have somewhat of a picture up there. Let's just say you have a picture where you are having a mask on, but people, men, women, it doesn't matter. They're going to want to know what you look like. They're going to want to know your face. They're going to want to know, who you are, not who you are in the true sense. Like, oh, wow, now I know what you look like. I can go find you. We're not talking about nothing deep and dark, although you still got to be careful, right? But just making it plain, and adding safety to the mix, and just human nature. People are going to want to see your face. They're going to want to see your face. They're going to want to say, hey, wow, you have, especially in my case, when men see my feet, they're like, man, she must be pretty. Because I got pretty feet. It is what it is, and not to say that that's always the case in situations. Trust me, y'all. Trust me. That's a whole nother different topic as we get into talking about fetishes later on, or I'm diving deeper into fetishes and the psychology behind it and things of that nature, things I've discovered, keeping in mind that my major is psychology. Under the umbrella of psychology, underneath that is human sexual behavior. Underneath that is a tantric healer, right? So we're talking about spirituality and sexuality, and underneath that, then you got webcam modeling, you got everything else, under that umbrella. So anywho, what else? Number three would be, I hope I clarified that. Did I clarify that though? Regarding hiding your face. Hmm. That may not be something that you want to do. And again, let me check the chat box, you guys, because I don't know if the chat is going to pop up here. I don't know how it works. I'm on my tablet going live. It's different when I'm on my. I would love it if whoever comes through, if you guys could just put a one in the chat or something like that, so I could see if I see the chat, just in case you come through. Anywho, so going down the list, what was that? Money was how much money you can make. Number two was, can you hide your face? Number three would be top 5 questions that I get asked or have been asked when I used to mentor people. Would be gosh, number 3 would probably be, I guess, scheduling. When can you log in? But the truth is, nowadays, people, I would imagine, are not going to ask that question, because content creating and going live is so popular now. People have an understanding that if you're a content creator, an influencer, when you go live, you're working your own schedule. But to say the least, with webcamming, you can work your own schedule as well. You're logging in when you want to log in. Like, instead of me being right here logged in with you guys, I ought to be probably logged into work. So log in whenever you basically feel like logging in. Now, if you're under a studio, right, and I almost want to call it a structured studio, because I don't know if that's exactly it. But if you're under a structured studio, what I mean is it's physically where you would go in, and you would clock in, you would sign in, and you would go into a studio. I'm sure those particular places, in fact, there's one out here in California that's in Hollywood, not far from me, actually. And I forget, I think they're under the umbrella of Live Jasmine, for those that are familiar. And yeah, I remember. Wow, they're still out here, and they're an actual studio. They literally, you go in and they have like these various rooms where a woman can pick, or the model can pick which room they want. If they want a more playful room, if they're a dominatrix, they want that type of room. If they want, they're more of a gamer, they have the gamer room. They have all these different themes, right? And so you can go into there, and that's where you literally would work. And that is, again, I call it a structured studio, right? In those cases, they do have a minimum of your hours and a maximum, but again, a minimum of when you can come in, and it's ran more like a from 8 to 5. And of course, you take maybe an hour break or something. Hi, you guys, I see you. Happy Thursday. And you take an hour break. So I'm just answering your webcam model questions, you guys. If you have them, feel free to ask me. Hopefully, you're over 18 years of age to coming through here. Yeah, so I'm in the spirit of just answering your questions tonight. Again, 16 years in the business, I have answers for your questions. What else? Just giving a kind of rundown on the top five. So again, the number three was, you guys, I am so premenopausal. I get so much brain fog. You guys, forgive me. I do. I swear I do. I don't mean to, but I do. So number three is scheduling. Again, you log in when you want to. That's why you're going to make your money, but you won't make your money unless you log in. Number four is going to be, what is the most popular? Um, oh, duh, taking your clothes off. Now, this is the thing with taking your clothes off, because again, this kind of goes back to what I said about logging in and people understanding now what webcam modeling is, and they're understanding what online adult entertainment is. And with that understanding, people also are getting it, an understanding, or knowing is a better way of saying it, not necessarily understanding, but a knowing that it's expected for them to take their clothes off. But because I am, like I say, 98% of my shows, y'all, me and my numbers, but 98% of my shows are, and in fact, I think I can count on one hand out of the 16 years I've been a webcam model that I've had an explicit show with that I've had explicit shows. One hand, 16 years, right? Because I'm a fetishist. So that simply means that a lot of what I do, and a role playist woman. So a lot of what I do is talk. A lot of what I do is give fantasy. A lot of what I do is get inside their head, so to speak, not just on it, but in it, and give men that fantasy, give them that fantasy talk, elaborate, create ideas, create scenarios, and run with that. Or being a fetishist, I'm a long nail goddess. So there you have it. Why the nails? So thanks for the thumbs up. So I'm a long nail goddess. So men like women with long nails. Um, they love women with long nails. I have been witness for the last 20 years of my life just how much women and men definitely love. Men definitely will pay for your eccentricness. Hence the name Exotica Worship. Anything about you, and I got to throw this in a bucket, you guys. Anything that you have that's exotic, let me put it this way: anything that you have that the world might say ill to, guarantee you it's turning somebody on. I put that on my life. Anything that somebody says, oh my God, you're too this, or that's too strange, or that's too odd, that's too bizarre, is the very thing that somebody's going, oh my gosh, where have you been all my life? I'm gonna need you in my life. I'm gonna need you in my life, right? And so, for those that don't know the story, just a little recap. I didn't just I came into webcam modeling on accident. I was here at YouTube about 20 years ago, crocheting. God, that's a long time. Crocheting, and I began to get a lot of followers and folks coming through. For those that have heard the story 1,001 times, but folks coming through. I had a buddy that was in New York, who I would chit chat with him. And I remember talking to him, and I said, you know what? I'm starting my YouTube. What I noticed that I get a lot of guys coming through who watch me crochet. Do they want a beanie? What's going on? He said, it's the nails. I said, it is? He said, yeah, it's the nails. I said, wait, I don't understand. He was like, it's your, and mind you, I was a phone sex operator. So before, so it wasn't like I didn't understand fetishes or men liking bizarre, strange things. In fact, I was a smoking fetishist as a phone sex operator. In other words, when the guys would call in, and forgive me guys for bouncing and skipping, I'm neurodivergent. Well, when the guys would call in, I would do a lot of smoking role play, which means I'm on the phone. I would literally make the sound before there was a thing even called ASMR. I'm 49 years old. I was 18, 19 years old on the line in Hollywood in an office, with guys calling in going, oh, can you smoke a cigarette for me? Can you smoke a Virginia Slam 120 was the thing. And I think it's still the thing to this very day. And I would be on the phone and I would just make the blowing sound like, right? Like I'm blowing cigarette smoke. So I understood fetishes, but I didn't understand nail fetishes. So think about this. When I got onto YouTube and then my buddy tells me, hey, I know where you can go to a site where, and this is I started off in Live Jasmine. I tried out for Chatterbait, but I didn't like it. I never really Chatterbait just wasn't my style. I think every woman and every model, including men, you just need to find out what your style is. When you go and investigate your sites, go and look at them, and see the interface and see what's going on on the site, and that'll give you a determination. Okay, I like how the aesthetic is here. I like how the models look here. That kind of is in my flow, right? And that's how you'll kind of know. Well, for me, when I started out, which I didn't even start out with Chatterbait, I went to go look. My buddy in New York sent me a link to Chatterbait, and when he sent me that link, I looked it up, and I was like, I don't know. Chatterbait has always been vulgar. You hear what I'm saying? It's always been explicit, I should say. And I was like, nah, that wasn't really me. I wasn't, I was like, I don't know about that. At the time, I was a single mother. This was back in 2008, right? 2008, yeah. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to, and again, being a phone sex operator, I was used to keeping my clothes on, but I wanted to be sexy and playful. And I still didn't understand the concept of the nails. So, but I tried it out because I was already open minded. But then when I went over to Live Jasmine, for those that are familiar, Live Jasmine was A plus. But trust me, y'all, Live Jasmine, it was anal. They are so strict. They were anal as hell. When I say anal, I mean literally, right? But no, they were like, you have to have them pictures on point. They're specific about how you do things. They were making sure that you came in there like a model. That's how Live Jasmine, they wanted you to take a professional photo shoots. And I was like, ain't nobody doing all that, although I did. And I started out, and that site is Nice Nails and Lips. And literally, because I would always get compliments on these lips, y'all. I would always get compliments on my lips and my smile. So I just added Nice Nails and Lips. And from there, the rest is history. But my point is fetishes, right? So that's when I learned the long nail fetish. And I was like, wow. And I've made lots of moolah, surprisingly lots of moolah off of the being a long nail goddess. And I've promoted it. I've tried to get other women aboard, other long nail, ethnic and or indigenous women aboard. I think I'm the still, as I'm sitting here, y'all, I don't know if it's changed. I think I'm the only, yet still to this day, the only mixed chick, African American, Black woman, whatever you want to call it. It's a lot going on in me as it relates to, in fact, I was talking to my daughter today. I'm like, man, everywhere I go, people ask me, what are you? What are you? What are you? What are you? I'm 49 years old. I guess I'm just so tired of hearing it sometimes. That's another sidebar. But I say all that to say, because that goes kind of back what I said to being unique and exotic, right? Because when you are unique and when you are exotic, you can be whatever you want. There's a sweet privilege there, and it works in my favor being in the industry. And so I often tell people, depending on what the wig I'm wearing, yeah. So with that being said, regarding fetishes though, and being a nail fetishes, there are men and people who have paid me who loved it and did not want me to take my clothes off, because something about when a man, I would say all of my nail guys see nail goddesses, see women who rock long nails. There is a respect for us. There is an honor. There is a worshiping, exotica worship. There is a worshiping that's there. So once I got spoiled by that, if that makes sense, y'all, once I got spoiled by that treatment, it's like, why would I take my clothes off? Why would I do? They told me not to. Trust me, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that the way some of my clients have trained me to not do it, because they're like, we're not paying you for that. We're paying you for your essence. We're paying you to be a nail goddess. We're paying you to show up, right? So I said that to say, and I think a comment came through. So let me pause and let me look and see. Let me see how this is ran. Again, I'm on my tablet, so I'm not too sure of where it goes. Oh, I hope they disappear, huh? If you typed it, can I see it again? Let me Oh, goody, goody, goody. I see you, R. I see you, Red. Okay. And okay, again, if you have any questions, I'm here. Hi. So, where are we at? Number three, number four. Do you have any unique questions for me? Again, I'm just going down the top five. But the fifth one would be, even though you've probably been in the business forever, but just you and me, we here, right? But just in case, it could be something. What am I missing, right? Since you've been in it about as long as I think I've been in it, or we're around the same age as what I remember. So I would say number four is, what did we cover? How much money can you make in the business? Can you hide your face? You guys heard my opinion on that. Um, Scheduling. Number four was, dang, what did I used to hear a lot? Um, it's this one right here. And people would ask me when they go and apply for another job. That This one was huge because there were a lot of women that was in nursing school. So they would ask, when I go to apply for a new job, is that going to show up that they were a webcam model? That was huge, right? They would often ask that question. And let me see, before it disappeared. I see you. Before it disappeared. Oh my God, I'm gonna need my glasses. Yeah, where's my glasses? Okay, you said I have a confirmation to share. Okay, a confirmation to share. Come on, they just disappeared. Get back there. I'm gonna work that out later. I have a confirmation to share. The changing the name on your chat title. Changing the name on your chat title. Bring more traffic to your. Uh, you're asking me or you're confirming it? Because it's the same, And I contemplate. I said, should I, shouldn't I? And then it's like, now that I'm here, I don't even care. I think I don't even, you know, or you saying that for your own personal. I think you meant me, right? Let me click on this again. Oh, you're so very welcome, Red. I have a confirmation share. Keeps disappearing. Jesus. How do you make it stick? Let me see if I right click on it. Let me see. If I right click on it, does that change anything? If I keep it. And add moderator. I'm gonna add you as a moderator just because. Why not? Manage moderator, status moderator. I guess I don't know. You did a live and shared about chat. Was that Chat GBT? You did a live and you shared about Chat GBT and algorithms. Oh yes, yes. Oh yeah, I remember the end, right at the very end. Yeah, I enjoyed that one because I was like myself, I didn't even know it, right? Um, are you hinting to me that I should I should go and ask, is my wig sliding? Probably no. I'm so silly. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Oh, regarding nurses, I gotta get this out. So regarding women that are going towards jobs or people that are going towards jobs that where they will check and see or they'll find out that you're in the business. And again, this was years ago when I used to mentor. Nowadays, from what I understand, regular 9 to 5 jobs do ask, some of them do ask if you have social media, if you have this, if you have that, you know what I'm saying? So you want to be mindful. And I'm going to say the same thing that I used to say back then. Number one, it's not going to ever say you were a webcam model. Like it doesn't show up. People ask that about taxes and all kind of stuff. Regarding being a webcam model, you are a independent contractor, but it's not going to say webcam model. It probably say something like, uh, shoot, I don't even know what StreamMate says. What would it say, Red? I think it says something like, they'll have a different type of name. It'd probably be like such as ABCD Incorporated and 123, you know, Inc. You get what I'm saying? It usually is not absolutely that, because it's the obvious. And so I know these people go into the top dog, so to speak, have that understanding that you know, to protect themselves or to protect the models or however. At least that's how I'd be thinking about it, you know, to make sure that this is not something that's just blatantly adult entertainment, right? So that's something you want to be mindful of. You guys make sure you thumbs up the video while you're here. So number 4 is that, again, my thoughts on that is, let me say this. I gotta let me put my mouse down and focus here regarding the adult entertainment industry. Period, ladies and gentlemen. If you think, sense any part of your soul, right? Any part of your soul that tells you that, ask yourself, I'm afraid, I'm nervous, I have anxiety, I'm unsure about what my future may hold if I get involved with this business. I need the money, yes. I need diapers for my baby, whatever. I need to pay my rent. Yeah, I would advise you to think it through thoroughly because it could happen. It could show up. Anything could come up out of nowhere. And if you know that, right, because the possibilities are possible or whatever, I would advise anybody, do not do it. When I got into this business, and then of course I was a single mother, webcam modeling, the soft adult entertainment fund has always been with me. And I remember when I was doing a video back in the day. This is what, 15 years ago. And I remember someone who came to my a video, because we didn't have live back then, and came to my video and asked, does your, and I'm gonna say it bluntly, but I have to, well, I can't really because there's so many guidelines nowadays. But they asked me, does my, I'm gonna just say seeds, so you guys understand what I'm saying. They would ask, does my seeds know what I do? And I would always say, age appropriately, they do. You understand what I mean? Literally, that's how it was. Age appropriately, they did. And so, I mean, even though all my seeds are grown now, I'm a grandmother, right? But I say all that to say that was never a concern of mine, because even to this day, you know, there's moments in me where I go, what if my oldest son is 29, and I'm like, what if my son, okay, you know, because remember I said, out of the 5, out of me being in the business for 16 years, there's just, I can count on one hand of how many men I've been explicit with in the business. But sometimes all it takes is one. I'm very aware of that. So let's just say one of my sons, one of my daughter for that matter, who she definitely knows. When she walks back in here, she's going, oh mom, you're doing a live. Everybody knows, my daughter knows. She's 27, by the way. My children know. My son who's 23, he knows. And my son that's 23, he's a little different than the one that's 29. But even still, they are, when I say different, just to elaborate, one is more free spirit. They're both all free spirited because of their mama, right? But I'm mindful of how it affect the older one, because the older one saw mama go through so many things when he was younger. Let's kind of tie it in there. You get what I'm saying? My struggles as it relates to men and as it relates to the things I've had to that I survived. Okay, keeping it 100. So my oldest son is a lot more protective over me, a lot more than you know, because naturally the older child is seeing, and you know, so if anything I get myself involved in, my oldest son is going to be like, mom, are you good, are you okay, you know, how I'm not sure, are you are you safe? And so that was a concern, but now he knows that how I roll and how I get down, if you will, regarding the business, and how I am very um what's it called, open. I've always been open, age appropriately, with my children. But again, if my oldest son, youngest son, my boys were to have ever seen their mother, even in the 5, spread it wide eagle or posed or took a naughty video, so this is what I've always said. I always hoped that I had my good side. I always hoped that, because let me tell you, when it comes to family, it's like people who come out the closet, so to speak. People who, oh, I'm starting, imagine if somebody, you told somebody, I'm gonna start me a baking business. I'm coming out of the closet. I'm starting a baking business. I've always liked baking. I love cookies. I love baking chicken. I'm just a baking queen or king. And imagine your family looking at you going, oh, you ain't surprising nobody. We always knew that. Like that is right. And so that's what I'm trying to say as it relates to my own personal life. But not everybody has that story. Not everybody has a family or people in their life that would be supportive now, or not, because outside my children, Uh, Outside of my grown children, I have siblings that don't agree with what I do. It had been vocal and verbal about that, right? And it used to sting. It used to bother me. It used to bother me so much to where I used to say, dang, I'm not even taking my clothes off. And they didn't care. But then I matured and the spirit prayed on some stuff. And I realized that it didn't matter what I did. Probably those siblings still would have had an issue with me, right? So sometimes people just look for a reason to not like you or like what you do or whatever. And that right there is that'll do it. You get what I'm saying? That'll work. That'll work. Yeah, the don't entertain. She's doing what? Oh yeah, now I can just have that as the surface, but really underneath the foundation, even if she was passing out Bibles, I'm a question that too. So, anywho, what am I really saying? You have to be confident. You ain't got to be all that confident, honestly. You just got to have a little bit of faith in yourself, right? To do whatever it is that you're doing without the fear of, oh my God, what if this gets out? What if somebody does da 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 da? I get found on the internet? Can I hide my face? Anytime you're moving, speaking of laws of attraction, anytime you're moving in a vibration of fear, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna work out the way you want because it's fear. I mean, what does fear do? Fear just creates more fear, more fear, more fear, more fear, you know? And if you're moving in light and love and you genuinely like what you do, and this is anything in life, it should work in your favor. If nobody, I'm telling you, I love being a webcam model. Love it. And like any job, yeah, it gets on my nerves every now and again. And yeah, the guys get on my nerves, but it don't. I'm not at the point where they got on my nerves so bad. I don't like men. You know what I mean? So I just have to just really, how I get get passionate about some of this stuff. Number 5 is I'm like, what? Let me go look at your comment if you're still here, Red, I believe. But number 5 would be, gosh, I forgot, but it does not. You can model. Forgot something. You said you forgot. What did you forgot something? What did you forget? What did you forget? You forgot, and you were right. You did a live and shared about the chapter. I don't know. It was something you said. I was just checking. It's not just even my glasses. I gotta really figure out why does it disappear. Because the last live I was on my, was that on my chat? I was on here too, but it stayed. It stayed in the chat. You know what I mean? I don't know. So I mean, it stayed where I could see it. It wasn't doing this disappearing act thing. But anyway, so number 5 would be, what is another popular question before I get out of here? People have asked me again, the taking the clothes off. You don't have to. I talked too much about this, so I'm not going to dive deep in, but you don't have to. There's too many role plays. There's too much fetishes. There's too much imagination to be given. Sometimes I wonder about us girls. Let me say this. Sometimes I wonder about us men. We know how the men and fellas get down, but sometimes I wonder, like, and this is why I stopped mentoring because I don't. What I've discovered about men, some, not all, they don't want it easy. They don't want you to be so easy. But this is the nature of the business, right? Duh. So again, there are many men that I can tell you. There's been men who come to my broadcast and they're like, get naked, and they immediately expect that, and I'm not gonna get mad at them for expecting it. Although I do have my ego and my pride to say, who do you think you're talking to, without saying that. But some parts of my spirit is like Beyonce, you must not know about me. That's the attitude I take, because I'm like you obviously don't, but I can't blame them for that, right? Because it's the nature of the freaking business. Dang. So I'm not gonna sit there and go, oh my God, how could you think that I was gonna get naked? What do you think this is? And I'd be an idiot to say that. They'd probably be like, they'd look around and be like, am I in the right place? Because I could have swore this was exactly where I want to be, for exactly what I need for, because then I thought this is the very reason why most men come to webcam models to, if nothing else, I got to be real with myself sometimes, y'all, to get off. That's what they come there to do. It is what it is. However, it's not what you do over here with me, it's how you do it, right? I gotta enjoy it too. We gotta. I don't really have, I'm not that great of an actress. Let me say that. And then again, going back to, and I gotta just drive this home. They say, we as women, we teach men how to treat us. But I've discovered in being in this business, men have taught me how to treat myself. It's the weirdest thing. I can't even describe it really. All I know is that God works in mysterious ways. Like how would I, is unless I'm missing something, because again, I am neurodivergent. So maybe I'm like missing there's a glitch of information that my brain ain't receiving. Does that make sense, Red? It's something where I'm not really catching. Because in other words, when I say these men respect me, now obviously there are going to be a lot of people, oh, those guys don't respect you. But then I can go on a date with a man and he pays just for coffee and he'll expect to want to sleep with me. But that guy is more respectful than the guy that would visit me in a webcam show, right? Right. You get me? That's what people think. Well, he's going to expect, even if he took me to a fancy restaurant, his expectation is going to be that. And then I go over to the webcam industry and the guy is telling me, no, no, keep your clothes on, goddess. No, 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 no. You don't do nothing extra for me. No, 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 no. And I'm like, really? You don't want to at least see a little. I mean, you're being so good to me over here. You don't want me to. And they're like, goddess, no, I just like, most times I bull crap you guys. Not, I'm not, I promise on me, I'm not just saying that to say it. I'm telling you the truth. So this business has helped me to level up even in my dating. True facts. It has helped me to learn and to maneuver. You know, you said when you can pay for acting. They said, dang it, why did they disappear? I'm so glad because I'd be really upset if there's a whole bunch of people. I'm not upset, but a little frustrated. When you can pay for just sitting pretty, absolutely. When you can just get paid for sitting pretty is what you're saying. Absolutely. That's what I'm like. I've learned so much from this business, like, like today, right? Quick story time. I'm in Whole Foods. I went out to Beverly Hills today, right? Because I'm out here in California, and I felt like why not? Hell, I feel like going to a coffee shop in Beverly Hills, um, is not going to be that much more expensive than getting a coffee in the hood. It's just what it is. And I felt posh today, right? So I'm like, I hopped on the bus, in fact, because I don't drive no more. Went out there, and then I finish up my little day, and I'm gonna post the video, but right here at YouTube, because TikTok, they're tripping. I can't really explore the way I want on TikTok. And we're gonna be making some moves, you guys. I'm gonna come back and talk about it a little bit more, but I think I'm gonna be moving on over to OnlyFans. So whoever's here right now, whoever sees the replay, I think that's where I'm gonna do. I think that's where I need to be. And so throughout my journey, I've been really just understanding at 49 years old, and it's never too late. Where do I belong? Like you was the same. Don't just go where you're tolerated. Go where you're actually appreciated. And that's what I did when I went to Beverly Hills. So my point is regarding dating and how this business helps me even in dating. So I'm on a raggedy dating site, y'all. I ain't gonna tell you. I'm on this raggedy tear. Oh my daughter says, Mom, she will take my phone out my hand if when she sees I'm on it. She's like, no, no, no. We be just going at it. She's like, I'm like, you better not break my nail while you're trying to snatch this phone from me. But she so I come out of the Beverly Hills, I hop back on the bus, I see a Whole Foods, I hop off the bus, I'm like do, I'll go in a little Whole Foods. I'm trying to do this detox thing, like, not in a sense of losing weight, but just consciously aware of eating healthier and premenopausal, just getting our stuff right as a woman and trying my best to just do the best I can to just be here a little longer. Okay. So I go to Whole Foods. I go on ChatGPT last night to discover what can I use to cleanse and, pomegranate juice and things of that nature and teas and to detox. And my daughter's really into herbs and stuff like that. So my point is I'm feeling bougie on the outside, want to feel bougie on the inside. So I'm in Whole Foods. And we got the little posh people around. Again, this is Beverly Hills. So, people are foo-foo, right? And all of a sudden, I forgot I gave this man, my phone number in this dating site. So he finally calls. I think I left the number like that day before yesterday or whatever. His time was ticking because I'm impatient. I mean, like if you ain't calling me like da 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 blocked, no. But anyway, he finally called, and he gets on the phone. And I swear to God, Red, if you're listening or whoever's gonna hear this replay, he gets on the phone and he's like, "Hello." And I'm like, "Hello," because I'm in my posh era mood, right? And I'm like, "Hello," and he's like, he's like, what did he say? What did this freaking dude say? He's like, yeah, I'm on the road right now, and his energy was aggressive. It was assertive. It was dominant. It was, it was like that, right? It was, and here I am feeling soft and dainty and la 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 la. And he's like, yeah, I'm on the road. I'm a truck driver. This is what I do. I'm over here in North Carolina. I'll be spinning back around to California. First of all, this is the first red flag because I don't date truck drivers. The second part is that if you're not already here in California, like, what are we talking about? But I just let it slide because I'm in a good mood. I mean, like, I'm not about to let this ninja piss me off. So he's, what did he say? So he's carrying on, and all of a sudden, not even all of a sudden, in the first couple of conversation, he's cursing. Now I got a potty mouth myself. Y'all didn't heard me say shit. I don't give a damn. F this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate. But for a man, we're talking about a dating site, and I'm giving him lady energy. He doesn't know this about me yet. And for him to be like, yeah, because I got to make this money, because if you ain't making no MF money, literally, this is the energy, y'all. Total out of alignment with where I'm at. Absolutely not. I mean, my daughter would have been like, Mom, hang it up. Just hang up the phone. But for whatever reason that I'm working on, y'all, for whatever the reason, I'm walking down the aisles, looking at my teas and wondering what tea goes with what while I'm listening to him. At the same token, he's like, so yeah, I got to make my money, and I'm glad I got this business. I'm riding around in a 1 million, truck. I got 2 sleepers in the back, and for the first time ever in my life, y'all, I swear this is kind of total off the subject, but for the first time ever in my life, it's almost like this light bulb went off where these angels were like, oh, like the heavens just opened up. And in that moment, I was like, it was this, I don't know how to explain it. It was this reality check of like, get off the damn phone. This is not your guy. You hear that in the first second. I guess we can tie this into webcamming. You hear that in the first second. He's coming in hot. He's already loud. He's already aggressive. He's already do. No. And so this is what I tell him. I go, you know who you remind me of? I go, you remind me of my cousin, because I do. I have a cousin. So I'm trying to make it enduring, So I go, you remind me of my cousin, because he's kind of like rough like that. And I go, he's cussing. So I'm trying to hint to him that I don't hate him for how he's coming off. I don't know him, but it's not appealing, and ease up off the pressure, and you're not family. That's what I was trying to indicate. Like, I only have one cousin that I kind of allow him, if you will, to be that way, because that's my cousin. It's my baby cousin. So he said, oh, well, what is that really supposed to mean? I said, you're just being assertive. You're just being a little much. And I said, today's a happy day, And so he goes on to say, and then he didn't really get it. So this is what I tell him. I go, remember the cartoon Popeye? And he said, yeah, I remember. I said, well, there was Popeye, there was Brutus, there was Sweet Pea, and there was Wimpy that I remember. And I said, right now, you were giving me Brutus. And I was like, so what are you really into? What type of guys are you into? I said, more like Popeye. I said, I'll even go for like the energy of Sweet Pea. I mean, just saying, And he was like, oh, and it went over his head. What's my point? We're going to tie this into webcam, and I promise I am. Number one, don't let them waste your time. Get out of there. I'm not saying block every guy that comes through, right? But the ones that sit up, that over compliment you. Because one thing he said on the phone, he was like, boy, you have such a really nice voice. You have such a sexy voice. You have just all of that. And I was like, ew. And you guys know how I feel about compliments. Compliments do what? I always do it. Do absolutely zero. Compliments in the webcam modeling industry, I guess I'm a little jaded by it, you guys. It doesn't do anything for, and I'm not even really in it for the money. You guys know that about me by now. But it really, in those cases, compliments do nothing for my pockets. It don't do nothing for my self-esteem or confidence, because I'm already there. And so what's my point? When men over compliment, overdo that, even in the industry, I gotta throw this in the bucket. These are usually, I talked about it before, even in dating, these are usually the men that are trying to quote unquote love bomb you, thinking that okay, I mean, I I don't know. I don't know if it's the guys in the webcam industry that think, okay, if I tell her she's pretty or whatever, she's gonna give me a freebie. She's gonna show me some ass. I don't know. Or if the guys that are on a date, they figure if I compliment her so much, I guess they think the same thing. She gonna give me some ass. And I have to say it that way to be blunt about it. But my point is this: is that with this situation, webcamming has taught me truly how to keep leveling up and seek out the men that literally have been the men that has come to my life or come to my lives. I'm sorry, come to my broadcast and don't expect anything extra from me except for me to be me. Because the thing with the men that like me, and I have to drive this home here, they already see that I'm worth it. Oh, I gotta say it again, y'all. Man, because this is applied in so many areas in life. The man that already sees you're worth it, it's automatic. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to prove. You don't have to perform. It's none of that, right? And this is what this industry has taught me. Now, this is not to say everybody. This is not to to promote it and say, hey, ladies, if you're struggling in dating, become a webcam model. Although you never know. I mean, for me, that wasn't even the plan. I was just there because, again, I'm a fetishist, no long nail fetishist. I knew if they liked the nail, see, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking I could lead with nails, and eventually I would have to take off my clothes. That's what I was honestly thinking. But when I discovered that most of them were like, no, all of them, I keep saying most, but all of them were like, no. And they said it in very various ways. So when we think about dating, right? This is what I'm expecting in dating. I could be wrong. This just goes to show you that a man can get off on a woman. You minding your business, Red. You're not doing nothing but being you. You in Whole Foods or whatever grocery store you guys got. This the posh and bougie grocery store or the hood one or whatever. And you just in there minding your business. In fact, you just logged off from Cammy, so you still kind of dolled up, and you figure, oh, I need to run to the store and take a break and get some vitamin D. I'm gonna go outside and go outside, get some air, and go run to the nearby store. And this guy sees you in there. You already know how men operate because we're in the business. But once usually when we log off, our minds ain't on that. We're usually, I would imagine, we're not thinking about our jobs like most people. We're thinking about our own personal lives. I need to just go to this grocery store, get what I get. But the interesting thing is knowing that, because right, we know this, that there are many men that will look at you in that grocery store, Red, and see you going down the produce aisle and be like, dang. And immediately, this is the point I'm making, immediately see your worth, or immediately be turned on by you, or immediately be like, damn, I got to have that in my life. Well, how do I do this? Unfortunately, because of everything to be considered, as people talking about men don't approach women anymore, and because you are grocery shopping, you might even have your headphones or ear pods on. So he probably like, well, I don't even want to bother her. But what's my point is that there are men immediately, I would say most men, when they see what they like, since men are visual, see what they like, they've already gotten off. They're already getting their kicks, their rocks, their arousal, their dopamine hit, and you are completely oblivious. I think that's how you say that word. You don't know what's going on. Can you imagine how many times you went to the grocery store, to the Walmart, to the whatever, and you just minding your business, getting you some bananas? And I'm just when I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's not to say men are so predatory. That's not to try to say men are so perverted even. That, of course not. That's just simply saying there is somebody looking at you, getting off on you, checking you out, admiring you. Let's go with the positives for a second. Admiring you, liking what they see, adoring what they see, not having the guts to approach you in the end, obviously, right? And really genuinely liking you. I would go as far as to say there's many men that might like you, like me, whatever, and they are shy or they are intimidated or they are feeling some kind of way or they do are married, right? That part, or they got a girlfriend. So of course they're not going to cross those boundaries, but it doesn't mean that they're not attracted or they don't like what they see or they didn't get off in that second. So my point is when it comes to webcam modeling, these men have really, really taught me, like they're verbalized it to me, vocalized it to me. God is J. Jelena Nails. Jelena, I don't need you to take off your clothes. I don't need to see your boobs. I mean, then there's, mind you, there has been some that say this. If you want to, I mean, if you want to, I ain't gonna say no, but that's not what I'm here for. That's not. And when a man tells me if you want to, but that's not what I'm here for, you think I'm gonna be like, but I wanna. Most times I'm, and I'm not even to be not to even front. Okay, there was one guy who was my biggest freaking tipper who met me. I think he met me right here, if you will, right here at YouTube. Then he met me on my Nightford, which was my freaking it's my phone sex lines, right? He met me there. He followed me, and they will follow us. People who like you, not to sound like stalkery, they will follow you from YouTube to whatever. I've had men from I saw you first over here. I saw you first over there. What's your da da da? They will find us, right? They find you. And so my highest tipper, highest guy, I think he was in, where was he at? Was he in, I think it was in Norway, Russia, one of them places, foreign, or it could have been the UK. It wasn't, for sure, it wasn't America. And I remember he was my highest tipper, forget tipper. We that he didn't he made me understand there's no such thing with tips. He was like, Goddess, why would I give you tips? He felt insulted. He felt insulted that I would be like, well, you could tip me, blah, blah, blah. He was like, tips? He was like, no, like what? I mean, it went from what he was never, it was interesting. He was never my webcam guy, just to keep that in mind, So again, we talking about social media. These men are fine. There's so many women online. These men are getting off on you for free. It's not even funny. And that's why I stopped posting on Instagram in my actual feed. I don't think I've posted on Instagram in over 2 years because I was getting so many flood of DMs from nail lovers, from cheap freeloading nail lovers. Like they weren't even cheap. Cheap is at least you're paying, but freeloaders who weren't even doing that, who weren't even contributing, right? And so my point is this: as it relates to dating and as it relates to webcamming, for me, they go hand in hand, and I'm becoming more consciously aware of if these men are willing to tip, even if they're tip me $5, because at the end of the day, we don't even have to say it has to be nothing big. But that was the point I'm making, is he was huge. Oh, let me go back to that story. So he was a huge payer, a huge contributor. What do they call it? Tributes, right? To where naturally, or is it natural, or is it conditioned, ladies, right? Where I felt like I wanted or needed to give him more. Anybody else? A guy's really, 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 really doing a lot and doing good for you and doing all this stuff to where you just, because I think it's conditioning. I have no shame in saying that, to where you're like, well, maybe, and it's conditioning from who? From other men, from other women, even, right? From but primarily other men, because so many men can put the pressure. I did X, Y, Z. I did this. I expect. So if you're trained, so to speak, in society to, if your man is doing all this, you ought to give him something, or cook for him, or give him your body, or show him. And in this case, because of the nature of the business, naturally, again, I felt like, well, you're being so loyal to me, servant. Which, by the way, it doesn't last. That's another topic I'm going to come back through, or I already did that topic. On sometimes, because these men have their own personal lives, and sometimes they come across major money, and then so he spoiled the shit out of me with whatever he got. There I go cursing, right? But my point is that it wasn't about how much he spent, because we can't put a value to our spirit, our soul, our bodies, right? We can't really put a dollar amount, even though some women do, but you really can in the spiritual sense of it all. You really can't, in my opinion. But what the value that I took from that, beyond the money, was the fact that he was very adamant about me staying in my goddess posture. period. He was adamant about me staying uh, with dignity. That's the word, y'all. That's the word. Dignity. You know, something that you won't find in the adult entertainment field. People not throwing out that word. Let me tell you the words they're not throwing out: morals, values, principles, dignity, self-esteem, confidence, self-love. They don't expect that in many cases. So when you have a man, and in my case, have a client, have a guy come to your show, even if it's just one, because I believe with everything in me in life, all it takes is one, good, bad, ugly, no matter the scenario, situation. All it takes is just that one time. And it took that man that one time to let me know, Goddess, I don't need you to take off your clothes. I don't need you. And it was after him. Now, I wasn't doing it before either, but it was something about him. And I guess because he was my highest payer at the time, you know, highest guy. It was that. It was the fact that he was an older gentleman. It was the fact that he was over in another foreign land. It was the fact that in his story, when he said, I saw you on YouTube. And he was like, I had never seen such a beautiful God, long nail goddess. And the fact that he was like, he had always wanted to be with a black woman. He had always wanted to be with an ethnic woman who was a nail goddess. When I listened to this man's story, being raised and how, you know, race played a part in the 60s and the 50s, and how he had always had this desire and he liked women. And back in the 80s, out in the Americas, he would say, you could see they were rocking long fingernails. And he gave me the whole backstory, right? And he said, I said, well, because most times I ask men, other men, you know, well, why me? I've always been a why me girl. Trust me. For whatever reason, self-esteem, uncertainty, self-doubt. I'd be like, well, why me? Like, there's other women. I would tell him, there's other women that's wearing long fingernails. Why me? And he would say, number one, I love your skin tone. I love that it's you, your personality, everything about you. And he said, don't you? It was this place of like, if you degrade yourself, if you go below what I see, God, man, this almost makes me want to cry. Man, I swear to God, this makes me emotional because when I think about my life in general, it I'm telling you, I don't care what nobody says, God will show up in mysterious ways. And he will get you to the level that you're supposed to be at by any means necessary, if that's truly what you want in your heart. So as much as I done prayed to God throughout my life and my personal life, Lord, can I just find a guy that's this way? Can the guy meet me this way? Da, da, da. And God must have said, I'm gonna use, yeah, I'm gonna use the strange, because even the Bible says he will use the stranger things to conform the world. So the things that the world would be like, heck no, ain't no way in the world God was in that. I can understand how God said, I'm going to use this thing. She loves entertaining. She likes it. She thinks I'm a sender more than a few, not just one. I'm a sender more than a few men that say, keep your clothes on in so many words, in so many ways. So then when she goes out into dating, because I'm finally getting to the point, you guys, when she goes out to dating, when she goes out and she's sitting amongst these men or amongst these people for that matter, because its value is how we interact and how we maneuver, not with just romantic relationships, but how we maneuver with people in the world, knowing that if these men are calling me goddess, which I don't even like it, to be honest. Don't call me goddess, don't call me queen. But again, I'm an actress, so I take it, so to speak. But in my real life, don't be calling me no queen, no goddess, no this. I don't live the lifestyle, although there's many lifestyles. I'm out here in California, right? Near Hollywood, where there's many people living the lifestyle, you know, of dungeon and S&M and the darker side of things. I'm just saying, right? There's many types of lifestyles can be had. But outside of this business, I'm Janae, you know? But so what God is showing me, and any webcam model, hopefully somebody, not just me, can understand this portion. Sometimes God will allow you, guardian angels, whatever you believe in, life will allow you to be a part of something to build you, to build character, that part, right? I have learned how to say no being in this business a little bit more. I have learned how to just, because what it does, it gives you the principle of knowing this principle right here. What one won't do, someone else will. And a lot of people don't like that people maneuver like that, because now it seems a little narcissistic, because now it'll come across like, okay, now you're just using people. Now you're just looking at people as supply. Now, and it's like, no, it's just the facts of life. Like what this man won't do, or this man is hounding me to do, or giving me crumbs to do. Here is a whole nother man, whole nother vessel, whole nother being saying, you ain't even got to do all that. I'm going to give you that and that because of what you've already given me. It is your essence. It is who you are. It's something about you specifically, right? And I'm like, oh, and this is for any woman who needs to hear this, or any man for that matter. Sometimes, sometimes it's just a place of somebody really pouring into you, somebody really investing, sponsoring, however you want to call it, tributing to you, quote unquote, worshiping you. And so when I get and I sit up with men that are in my dating, and and that's why I'm laughing. They sit up and I'm dating, or so-called trying to date, or on a date, and they're giving me this energy like, I expect you to do XYZ, when I know in this business, and the business, I don't even do what, you know? And again, it doesn't mean that I've always lived that, you guys, in my personal, if I'm being transparent. It doesn't mean I've always gotten it right. It doesn't mean that what I'm speaking right now, that I've always been a plus with it. What is what I'm saying? I have, what's it called? Forfeited. I'm still learning how to set boundaries. And this business has helped me. This is a whole nother topic, y'all. But this business has helped me show me how to set boundaries. It really has. What does boundaries look like in the webcam modeling industry? When I tell a man, when he's like, well, I mean, you won't do it for me. I mean, just show me a little bit, a little something. And mind you, let's just say he tipped me one token, just to get to the point. And he's like, well, I did tip you. And, come on, guys, you're so beautiful. And he gets to begging and he gets to carrying on and da da da. He doesn't mean he's a bad guy, but he's just going to keep, nagging, I guess you'd call it. And I still have to be like, no, my no is my no, just like the Bible says. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, for sure, So I've learned and continuously learn at 49 to let my yes be yes and my no be no, right? So in the business of webcam modeling, it's the same thing. When these men are asking me to do things that I don't do, or when they're being rude, or even when I'm in a private and they've paid me. Let's talk about that right quickly. What about the man that already took you out on a date, already spent all this money on you, and so and I've often said this, especially I used to say it on my TikTok a lot. It's a very sad thing, I guess I can word it like that, when a woman, be beautiful in the eyes of the world or whatever, don't even know her value or her worth, and leaving it up to men to do that. And so with that being said, even when it comes to the men who say, oh, goddess, don't take your clothes off, I really like you, I like how you did it, guess what? I don't depend on that. I got to know that still for myself. You understand what I'm saying? You got to know that you're beautiful. You got to know that you're uniquely and perfectly made, regardless to what they say, regardless to how much money they spend. And that's where a lot of women, again, I know we got our share of sevens. We got people who, promote hypergamy and all these things. I get it 100%. But even as a 49-year-old woman, I feel like this, my standard, it still has to be my standard. It still has to be, it's something, you have to stand for something. You got to start somewhere. And I'm speaking this from a woman who didn't always have it. I was afraid to have standards. I was afraid to have boundaries because I wanted to be liked, because I didn't want to be rejected. I'm just telling you the Jesus Christ truth. And so again, being a woman in this industry, it's finally clicking. 16 years it's taken me, y'all. If we can look at it like that, it has taken me 16 years to be able to go, heck no. A good example is this, for those that don't know, in the webcam modeling industry, you got men that are the men who have credit cards and shows. You got men who are considered grays, depending on what site you're on, like StripChat. But you got people who have never paid. You got, like I told you, I think I told you this before, Red. You got people where you can check and see if they've gotten a credit card or if they've spent money on whatever. These days, and in the season I'm in, I don't even entertain. And that's going back to this phone call I had earlier in the Whole Foods with the man. I don't even these days entertain a man that hasn't even shown, right? Because evidence, y'all, shown that he's even in the spending business, so to speak. He's even not even in the mood of doing it. Now, the many sites will say, well, leave that option open because you can kind of persuade him. The hope is you can turn a what's it called in sales? A buyer is a liar into a buyer. You can. And I believe it, with faith and hope and all that good jazz, because overall I am very optimistic. So surely, but am I gonna sit and waste my time, if you will, on somebody that I know there's no evidence? And even in my personal life, I had to learn that. What is it about this man, right? What is it about this man that has shown me, not to say gotta prove who the hell am I, that he's even in the market, even in the business of, even in the interest of, even nothing. So what I love about being a webcam model, you can literally see, unlike, I don't say literally because you can't see their bank account, but unlike people that you go on a date with, you may not be looking at his wallet or looking at his bank account. He may have just came on that date. He might have borrowed the money from somebody. He might have gotten a bonus that week that week and was like, well, I can take her out now. And I'm not knocking men for where they're at financially. That God knows that's not what I'm trying to do. But it's like they have this thing going on TikTok, and I think it's right here at YouTube, where they're asking the question, should men date? I'm all over the place, y'all. Should men date who are not, what's it called? Who are broke? Should broke men still try to date? And I almost want to say it's the same rule applied with webcamming. Should you still entertain the broke man in hopes that maybe he'll get it together, in hopes that he'll eventually add a credit card to the site, in hopes? And the beautiful thing about the industry is that because the way it's set up, the nature of the business in uh, this way, it don't make no sense to sit up and again, in comparison to going on a date, you're going on a date with usually one guy. I mean, they do have a thing called speed dating, but you guys get my point, right? Where it just doesn't make sense in the webcam modeling industry to sit, and I used to do it. That's why I'm talking about it. There was a guy that used to come to, he probably is watching me right now, who's to say, used to come to one of my shows on Strip Chat, and we had a report. I'm telling you, Red, we had a report. He never paid. He never probably was going to pay. I think I talked about it before. And he got this audacity, because what I didn't realize is that when a woman gives a man any attention, certain types of men, when they get a certain type of attention, they get cocky, they get arrogant, they start feeling egotistic, they start feeling themselves, like, oh, she talking to me. And then he began to get this arrogance, like, she's talking to me even over the paying guys, which I would do. She's even talking to me over her regulars. I mean, this is really what I was doing. And because why? Because he became my, like right here, moderator. He became the gatekeeper. We had a rapport and all that stuff, right? But then he started getting big headed. This little twerp, that's what I'm gonna call him. He started getting big headed, and he would start talking to my other guys in chat. Just imagine going out on a date with a bum, so to speak, or a guy who's seemingly broke. I don't want to compare the two, if you will, but going out with him, and he has the audacity. Or let's just say you're at a coffee shop. I would just try. Let me see if I can imagine it through y'all. You're at a coffee shop. This guy buying you coffee, but he got this cocky attitude because I can't even compare to this because the guy didn't even tip me not one token. Okay, fine. Forget the coffee shop. You met a guy at the bus stop or the gas station. Hasn't had. There's no evidence that he's spent money, going to spend money. He's just talking to you, and you're entertaining him, mind you. Not because you feel afraid, but because you're just entertaining him. He might even be attractive, right? So you're like, hey, how you doing? You gathering up a report. He's like, you coming to this gas station often? I don't know. I don't drive anymore. And then imagine your phone rings or something like that. Or another guy is calling who actually wants to take you or make reservations and has proven to you that he sent you the I would say the link, right? Let's say he sent you the link or however reservations go. I'm getting there, y'all, even at 49. And he sends you to let you know, hey, we got dinner for 2 at 7 p.m. on Friday. And tonight's Thursday, and here's this guy at the gas station. So you tell the guy at the gas station, you know what, I'm gonna have to go. And he's like, well, let me get your number. And in my case, if you're comparing it to webcamming, right? In my case, dealing with this guy that I was dealing with who never showed me any type of financial, any type of whatever, he was just showing me attention. That part, right? Let's compare the two. I would go ahead and give the guy at the gas station the number. He'd say, give me your number. And I'd say, okay, cool. Now, here we are. All he's giving me is attention. All he's got is my number. He's never taken me out. He's never showed any evidence that he even can do that. Here's the guy over here, got the reservations and already planned it, and he's attractive. So it ain't like I don't like the other guy, that part, right? You guys following me? So That's how it was in the webcam. I hope this is making sense to you guys. Please tell me, Red, if it's making sense. Like they say, put a 1 in the chat if it's making sense. And then so here I was sitting over here in my webcamming, dealing with this one twerp, that's what I want to call it, and giving him all this attention, giving him all of this, while my regulars, and I think I talked about it before, while my regulars are sitting there here going, what the hell? So as regarding lessons that I've learned being in the industry, yes, it's being a woman in the industry, I could take that and apply that to my real life and go, wait a minute. The dude at the gas station, I'm not about to I'm not about to cancel plans with the guy that's like I already got reservations to talk to in hopes that the guy that, oh my God, I'm just, y'all, even if you weren't even here, I'd have to sit here and figure it out myself. Thank you, God. Literally, I be just, sometimes the downloads be coming when they come, y'all. And so in that moment, I would literally have to, in other words, if that would really happen realistically, would I give up on the guy that has reservations for two, who's already shown me he's handsome, we're attracted to each other, he's already made the effort, to the guy that says, I just got my number, you just got your number, just to that. What did you say? I am glad that SMN now can allow you to change your, yes, for sure, and so it wouldn't even make sense. So I think for us webcam models, if we look at it even in our personal life, because maybe I'm the only one that's going through this. I mean, but then again, there's so many women in the industry. I think you told me you were celibate, didn't you? There's so many women in the industry that's not even doing the do, so let alone, interacting with men in that kind of way. But when I think about my life, just in general, there's been times in my life, I'm not gonna lie, where I would have just went ahead and let me just see, because I'm an Aquarius, so I gotta be curious about every damn thing. Let me just see, maybe I can postpone the reservations with the one that or reschedule with him, since he's already, I guess, locked in, I don't know, and then go over here to the gas station guy and see, and guess what the gas station guy would tell me? Yeah, I was just I don't know why I got to do this voice, you guys, forgive me. Yeah, I was just imagine he calls me, right? Hey, what's up? We met at the gas station. I just wanted to know if you'd like to go for a sip of water at the park. Yeah, oh man. Yeah, I just want to know if you'd like to go for just a sip of water, just to quench your thirst, because I know we could get some ice if you don't mind, because ice is good, water, and everybody need water. We can't argue that. And so, and literally that's how I'm just cracking up myself. I read that is literally how being a webcam model has helped me to understand dating too. So what did I do with the one that I'm calling a twerk? I ended up completely, not necessarily blocking him. He made it so bad to where he made it bad to where I don't even open it up for any other potentials. I don't even open up the space. You hear what I'm saying? Like, technically, there are no, if you only have a username and you only have, just to be on, now those guys, he made it bad for everybody, so to speak. Same thing with the gas station guy. The gas station now guy, when I think about my life, I done had many gas station guys, unfortunately. So nowadays, in the season that I'm in, again, giving credit to webcamming, I'm taking the same principle. See, what I wasn't, you guys, I wasn't conscious about it. I would be Jelena Nails, then I'd take off my wig, take off the attitude, go get in the shower, and I'd go back to being Janae, and I just completely forgot everything. I wouldn't make the connect. And I would forget everything I learned about the industry, everything I learned about that night. Forget the dang on industry, everything I learned about that night. And then I would be like, okay, you see, and I'd go deal with the gas station dude, if you will. So these days it's like, no, we're gonna stick with people who done already showed evidence. They done already showed interest. Interest is interest, not just man. And like I said, the grocery store. It seemed, that when I gave the grocery store analogy, men be interested. That's not an issue for us. They're gonna be interested one way or the other, good, bad, ugly, interested. We passed the interested level, right? So now it's about, okay, effort, and then the effort got to be what I like, right? So this goes back to webcamming. Okay, so like I was mentioning, even when they pay you, maybe I'm getting a little too cocky for the business. I don't know. That's a little cam girl humor, cocky. That flows. A little too cocky for the business because I'm like, even if you've paid me, if you didn't read my profile, like I said in one of my other videos, that's not my responsibility because you didn't read and find out that I didn't do that. So when you go and you didn't pay it already and you're gonna sit here in a minute and the clock is ticking and the money is going and you tell me to get naked and I'd be like, did you read my profile? And how do I handle that most times? I'll ask them, did I read the profile? If they're rude, I'm gonna milk it. I'm telling you the truth. I'm gonna milk it. Like, okay, you know, all right. I'm gonna start typing. I'm gonna turn off my sound, and when I do this, that means I'm typing because typing takes longer to respond. So that means I didn't earn an extra dollar for every key. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just typing, and I don't care because now, and I'm typing. I no, this is what I don't even say. That's not in my profile. But like, did you? And I'm like, okay, let me capital because it takes time to do the shift key to make the D capital and because that's seconds right there. I count every second. But anyway, so capital D, did you not you, not the actual you, the whole word. Did you read my profile? No abbreviations, no nothing, exclamation mark. Then I'll go find an emoji because that takes time. Put that emoji there, and then I'll add it. Then I'll send that over so he stays a little longer. Then I go into, but we can talk dirty. What is it that you're into? We can talk about some dirty. I'll capitalize dirty, put an exclamation mark, go in under there, get another emoji. That's some more time, whatever. Right? Doing all that extras. Right. Well, by this time, at least, and what am I, depending on my prices, because every prices are different. Oh, that's another question. That's the bonus question. Can you set your own prices? Yes, you can. Yeah, and of course, the sites take a percentage out of it, but you do. I think that's the most funnest part as it relates to numbers, even though, I'm not a number girl, but that's the part that I really like is that I do have that option of setting my prices. In fact, I'm in the spirit of setting. I went to Beverly Hills today. I'm feeling bougie. I think I want to set my prices just for the night when I log in, or for the weekend. I think this weekend we're doing high end. We're getting high end, folks. You and me, Red. Let's challenge ourselves. Yes, let's challenge ourselves. Let's do a weekend. We're gonna call it Batty Bougie better make them pay weekend. We're gonna title it, so whatever your title is, and we're gonna challenge ourselves. I think we're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna take a daring leap. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna up my prices and everything that I have, to give credit to the men that put my crown on my head in this industry. Does that make sense? And if the man didn't do it, you put your crown on your head yourself, right? In the business, and you know your worth, you know your value. But this weekend, if we're logging in, I don't know if you're logging in this weekend, but if you are, we're gonna up our prices, right? We're gonna come back and talk about it. We're gonna see how we did. Are you down? Tell me you're down. Yay! We're gonna try it. We about to challenge. We're doing the Cam Girl Challenge. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. We're upping our prices at they be like an all-time high, all-time low at an all-time high. We're gonna up them. We're gonna go back through when I get off this live. I'm gonna look at my stuff, I'm gonna study it. Because me and my numbers, I'm gonna go to Chat GBT. I'm gonna let Stacy know, because that's what I call my Chat GBT. I'm gonna be like, Stacy, this is what I plan on doing. I plan on, upping it. I'm gonna let her know what it is that I do. Because what I like about ChatGPT for my webcam models, remember, you can always go there and she can give you, or Gemini, and she can give you, or they, right? Of course, they're girls. She can give you, or the guys, I don't know, give you a what am I trying to say? They get information from everywhere, right? And so I'm still a student. Let me say that. Very much still a student. And I'm learning some new stuff too. So it's not going to hurt me to ask Stacy or Gemini and say, hey, Stacy, what can I promote tonight in my shows? What's the hottest paying, even though I know these things, but what is reasonable, or can I even say what's reasonable, right? The changing the room name helps, absolutely. Changing, like Red just said, changing the room name helps. The topic, that's what we discovered with what was it, Gemini, last time we were live. And so changing the room topic, I don't know if we want to tell these guys, it's like, big big ballers and ballers and bougie babes only. That's a good one. Ballers and bougie babes only. I like that. Ballers and bougie babes only. Hey, hey. No, I'm just kidding. But we could see how that flows from everything that we do. Or it don't have to be everything. And I don't know if you have do you have a tip vibrator or a toy, interactive toy, Red? Because if so, we can change if we're on StreamMate, we can change our prices there, right? Depending, but normally on StreamMate, I get taken into privates more so. It's my strip chat. Okay, it's my strip chat that I get. What am I trying to say? It is my strip chat that I am more using of my interactive toy. That's where I get the more play, so to speak. There. So with StreamMate though, StreamMate is good because, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna talk about it later on though. On strip chat, I tend to get more people on strip chat that are telling me or ask me to lower my prices. Oh, I can compare this to dating. Oh my God. Oh my God. I compare this. I can truly could compare this to dating. Let me get some water. Man, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. Compare it to dating, right? Right, Red? Let's think about it, man. I gotta get some water. I'm parched. All this talking and excitement. Oh man. Goodness. So I'm thinking. Um, I should have got some cold water. It's okay. I like tap too. Don't make me no never mind. But so let me think. I can take my time with it. I keep forgetting I'm lying. I can take my time with it. So how are we gonna do this? How do I think of it? When I think about dating and that part, yeah, of these men that want me to lower my prices. Oh, this is a whole other topic. How would I view that if I was sitting at a table? I love the visuals on this, or how my imagination just takes me there, because that's how I'm able to go. Okay, yeah, that all makes sense. Imagine I'm sitting at actually, actually, it don't even happen when you're on the date. These men, according to my calculations, so to speak, straighten out my glasses. According to these men, they try to lowball you. That's what it's called in sales. They try to lowball you way before they even take you out. That's the whole point, you know. So when men come to my broadcast saying, which is not often, mind you, saying, "Can you lower your prices?" It does make me. And I got to be transparent, you guys, when I say this. It does make me there. Not always, but there has been moments in this industry where, just like in real life, y'all, it has made me question my own value, question that maybe I'm doing too much. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm asking too much. I've had those moments, right, where I'm just like, maybe my prices are a little high. Or if I'm talking on the phone with a guy and I'm like, hey, I want to go to, I don't know, a fun date where we go to the arcade, we go to the movies, and we go to the beach, like a full day, right? Let's just say, now that was back in the day. I'm 49. I don't know if my energy can keep up with all that, but let's just say my standard or my request was, I want this, that, and the third, right? And what if the guy, because I've had men, even if it's just one thing, men say, "Oh, you want to do that?" Well, I was thinking, da 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 da, or how. In other words, they'll lowball you. They'll have you suggest something cheaper, something that more in their pockets, I suppose, which is not necessarily a bad thing when you think about it. Let me think about it. I said, when you think about it, so let me actually think. Let me think. How does it, let me think, because I could hear my daughter. She's not right here right now, but I could hear her saying, "Hell no, mom." There's a viral woman that's on Instagram. She's on TikTok, and she's a black woman, and she pretends she's like a church lady or whatever, and she'd be like, "The price is the price." I don't know if you guys ever seen it, right? But she'd be like, "The price is the price," and I think that's what I have to stick with, right? And to me, believe it or not, to me, that's kind of, sometimes it's hard for me to navigate through that. Not only because I have dyscalculia, but also that it comes from a place of self-worth, right? So think about it. If I'm used to men spoiling me, they don't have a problem with financially blessing me, tipping me, giving to me, blah, 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 right? And then here comes a man that comes along that says, "Can you lower your price though?" And again, I wasn't really used to it. You hear what I'm saying? There was places in me where I'd be like, well, maybe I should, but damn, these guys over here, you hear what I'm saying, y'all? These guys over here are, pumping me up, so to speak. But is even it, in other words, are those guys realistic? Get what I don't know if that makes sense. Are those guys is actually spoiling me? And in fact, I had a this is so tied into here. I was dating a salt daddy, just to keep it 100. I was dating a guy that some might call a salt daddy, and I remember him, me telling him that I was a webcam model, right? And I was telling him, how big tippers are towards me. And he questioned me and he said, well, shoot. And I've heard this before. And I think this is just being salty when people ask this question. Well, how often does that happen though? Right. You understand what I'm saying, Red? When you get those people, well, how often does it happen? But yet my philosophy is if it only just happened once, that's all I need, because that lets me know the possibilities are endless, because that means it can happen again and again. And what I realize is that men that maneuver like that, inside or outside the business, or people for that matter, these are people that either think I'm doing extra, or they think you're doing extra, or they don't think, I guess, or sense or feel that you're all that, or don't take all that, or you don't, who are you to have all, I don't know. God knows. I have no idea. I'm assuming that's what that crap is. And so, but if you're not careful, is what I'm saying, you will end up self-doubting. And I've been there where you'll question, like, is my value too high, or my standards too high? Is my prices too high? Am I forget asking, because, or am I doing too much? Whatever, because there's always going to be somebody. If you don't hear nothing else I'm saying, because this is just literally my experience in life, there's always been somebody to try to have me forfeit or lowball me, you know? Yes, absolutely. But there are those that will try to, lowball you, or have you negotiate your standards. Basically, all money is in the industry. If I look at it like this and we see it this way, all the money equals is standard and value. A standard and a value that turns into a principle and a lived by philosophy and lifestyle, right? That you can apply to your real life. Can I get an amen in the chat? I'm just saying, like for real, like that hit me right there. It is so true. Like, because when I think about my personal life, I'm like, you're trying to have me negotiate. And I've wasted a lot of time doing that, sitting and going, well, there's a lot. I know I'm not the only woman, that think, well, at least I'm getting out the house. I'm just saying, that could be, you don't know what a person is, whatever. At least I'm getting out the house. Or it could be, um, well, I don't get asked often, or at least I'm not going to be by myself. I'm just going down a list maybe of some of the reasons why I was like, okay, again, going back to gas station analogy or gas station guy. And it's like, no, yeah, I don't. And let me make this plain English to whoever needs to hear this. Sometimes I don't even know if I'm worth it. With that part, sometimes we don't know. We don't know what we worth or deserve or not. A lot of people regurgitate that. They talk about it, they say it, but the truth is, sometimes you don't really know. Especially depending on how you were raised and everything to be considered. But the beautiful thing in life is that this is why laws of attraction teaches, right, and manifestation teaches you this: know what you want. The deserving part and the worst part, and whether you deserve it or not, will flow, will follow, or something along them lines, right? But knowing what you want. And so right now in my life, when you get, and let's go here, y'all, when you get used to that part, when you get used to being treated good, your kind of good, because everybody's good, treated good is defined differently. When you get, let me make it plain English: the man that came to my webcamming, right, as it relates to manifestations, y'all, that came to my webcam shows many, many moons ago, or the many men that followed after him, even the few before, even my number one long nail client, servant, slave, whatever you want to call it, the 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 faith, right, that I have to have is to focus my energy, talking about laws of attraction and manifestations here, focus my energy, focus my my mindset specifically on and zoom into this is why we're doing this challenge this weekend, Red, so that we focus our challenge on we look even the Bible says, I look look to the hills which cometh my help. So what am I really saying? That we look higher, we go higher, we look higher, we're high value webcam models. I don't care how you got to say it, we go higher, right? Because we know, because at least I know, it ain't like I don't know. I can see if I never knew. Because we know there are the big tippers. We know there's the respectable big tippers. How about that? We know that there are men out there that tip you and do and still be a gentleman about it, right? That part. We know that that exists. So that's what we go after. If that's what you want. I don't know about you, really, Red, but that's what I want this weekend, right? Because I need it to be applied to my real life. I need to utilize webcamming I'm utilizing webcamming in order to manifest what I want in my personal. So I'm working on being consciously aware to combine the two together, right? To combine it together. I might have to. I mean, literally, I want that. I want that kind of lifestyle for myself. And then this is not in a place of being financially dependent on anybody else. That's of course that's not what I'm saying. This is not about having a SD. This is not about it's about treatment. Period, point blank. That just so happens to maybe show up in a high-end restaurant, or it might forget a high-end. It could be a middle end. I don't know if that's what it's called. Like, for instance, when I went out to Beverly Hills today, and this is probably why I'm on fire about this. When I went out to Beverly Hills today, what I discovered was, again, it don't even cost a whole lot of money just to explore. Maybe not all the way 100% experience, high quality, but explore it. Get used to. Sometimes the creator, with everything in me, I believe sometimes God is setting you up for greatness, setting you up for goodness, setting you up for a better life, setting you up for high value, a little bit more than what you had. And again, it's everybody's high value, what's it called? Leveled up lifestyle, soft life, whatever lifestyle you want to live is defined differently. Today, when I went to, and mind you, on the bus, it's not like I took I think it's called a black Uber. It's not like I took a limousine there. I think they still have limousines. It's not like I took a helicopter ride over there. You know, I mean that might have been fun if I had the means. Maybe I would. I don't know. I always want to be in a helicopter. Anywho, but my point is this: I hopped on the bus, wearing what I have on now, the wig I have on now. Didn't even do my pedicure. Didn't even whatever. I didn't have to be all extra is what I'm saying. I didn't have to do anything extra. I had to be all extra. I just needed to show up as I was with a little bit more than a little bit of confidence, right? Right. Some of us don't even go into places and in our hometowns or wherever you're from and explore the more richer sides of life because you may feel like you don't belong because you may not know your worth or your value. You think you're not there. You're waiting to get into the right shape. You're waiting to lose weight. You're waiting to get whatever it is that you need, before you show up. Like for instance, I have a lot of dental work that I need. Even being a webcam model, if I'm being very transparent, being a webcam model, I used to give them face shielding. I used to be all up in the camera with my teeth. But because my dental work, I got a lot of stuff going on with my mouth. I'm not as confident as I used to be in that area. Right. So when was this? 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I get on the phone. I call my dentist. Right. All these things come into play when you talk about life. So I call my dentist. And not only did I call my dentist to set up an appointment, as scared as I am to go to the dentist, terrified. I mean, they got to put me to sleep because I have trauma when it comes to dental care. It is what it is. And with that being said, but guess what I did? I took a daring leap and get to Target, and guess what I did? I bought me an electric toothbrush. Oh, the fear that I had. No, just kidding. No, but like I think I said it in one of my videos. It's like I have a vibrator, but it's not for my teeth. And so I mean, shoot, but I took a leap of faith because why? I'm in the spirit of upgrading every part of me little bit by little bit, getting over every little tiny fear. So even the challenge that I'm going to challenge myself with regarding upping my prices, I don't know if I'm going to up them $5, $1, 2 cents. I don't know where the spirit will lead me. I mean, I might do something ridiculous, just to see, because you just never know. You just never know. So when I went up to Beverly Hills, like I said, when it comes to dating, this is the interesting thing. Now dang that dating app I'm on. Now my whole plan has changed. What am I saying, y'all? That means my whole strategy and dating has changed, right? In this respect. Now I know for sure that if a man says, I want to take you on a coffee date, I can say, sure. Now I'm not offended by it. Sure. And if I say, you have anything in mind, or he might ask, you have anything in mind? I'm going to say, I sure do. Let's go up to Beverly Hills. And if he go, why we got to go up there? Why we got to, because the truth, I think my coffee, what did my coffee cost me? I spent $23, y'all. I spent $23. 20, you mean to tell me? You get what I'm saying? Oh, you can have the experience, baby. You can have the exposure and the experience, at least a little bit of the experience. But no, I didn't go up and get a mansion yet. No, I didn't go, where the celebrities was at. No, I didn't get, I just got in there just good enough. You get me? And when I get a little bit more comfortable, I'll get a little bit more in there. And then I get a little bit more if God said the same. You understand what I'm saying? Because I know I did the little bit. All you got to do is do the first steps. But if I'm dating a guy that says, no, I was thinking maybe we go to a place where it's a little bit more quiet, where it's a little bit more, I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know if my spirit's going to be like, okay, he's going to be afraid because he's going to think what I want to go on a shopping spree. That's not what I'm trying to say. All I'm doing is setting a standard for myself. Yeah, absolutely. All I'm doing is setting a standard for myself. And the standard is, if we're going to go to a coffee shop, I don't mind a coffee date. It's going to be a high-end coffee date. Sure. We go to Beverly Hills. We go up by Melrose. There's other places out here in California. We're going to be poshy about it. I don't have to tell him that. But if he gets the stuttering, then I'll know he's not the one for me. Because I like the coffee shop in Beverly Hills. Why did I like this particular coffee shop? Want to hear this, you guys? What's interesting about this story is because the coffee shop that I went to, for those who don't know my story, I was in the foster care system. The particular coffee shop, they're all over. I think they're in other states, La La Land. And they literally promote kindness. And they were developed or created, or however you call it, founded in 1995 when I was graduating out of the foster care system. Last month, I think I told this story before, I was standing, I had made a mistake. Make a long story short, I ended up lost in Beverly Hills about a month ago. Didn't even know where I was at. Went home, looked at ChatGPT, asked where was I at. That's when I found out the information that this particular coffee shop, it was made for people like me. Didn't even realize that I had belonged there all along. I fit there. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes the world and other people and their fears, I got to draw this in here when I say it before I get out of here, guys. Their concerns, their scared, their fears, whatever can be put on you. And you're like, sometimes God will be creating stuff in the background when 10 years ago, he was making this for me. 20 years ago, he was making this. You guys help me with the numbers. Where was I in high school? You know what I'm saying? I'm 49. Y'all do the math. 30 some years ago, somebody sat at a round table and said, we want to create a coffee shop or a place for so we can create jobs, mind you, for the youth that are coming out of foster care. Here I come 30 years later, and you made it for folks like me in the city of Beverly Hills, in a place that I, if I'm being 100 about it, at a city at a place where I have to sometimes get my debit card here and another debit card here and go and swipe this one and swipe this one and swipe that one to make up for what, you get what I'm saying? I'm telling the truth from my testimony to my story. And I don't mean to go there, but again, when I get to talking, okay, and I get to really tell him, because at the end of the day, there's nothing I'm ashamed, embarrassed, or I'm transparent, because I'm always in hopes that maybe somebody will hear what I said. And what I'm really saying is this: believe in yourself even a little bit. A part of being a webcam model, the part where you believe in yourself at and your potential, your financial potential, because that's what it boils down to, right? Is that change your prices a little bit, tweak it a little bit. And this is what I realized: when they start saying that it's too high, you're in the right space. You're on the right path. When they start saying you're doing too much, you're doing extra, you didn't have to go all the way to Beverly Hills to get coffee when there's a coffee and cafe shop 2 blocks down from me. Why you got to go there? Just, I don't know. I mean, I want to toss my wig back and be like, I don't know. I just, I feel like, I don't know. I think the spirit was just moving on me. It's just, I don't know. Today was that day, And so to me, that's what it feels like. It feels like when God is getting ready, your spirit is elevating you, Red, in any portion of your life, right? Any portion of your life, or whoever's still here listening to me ramble, but any portion of your life, God sends little hints. This is why I love the fact that God don't put it all on you at once, even the good stuff. He lets a man come through. His name was Gary, by the way. He lets a man come through, and he lets that man come through, and he lets him shower you with gifts for the first time to show you your value and your worth. It don't mean it's going to be forever. That's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes people just come through just to pass through. There's a saying that says some people just come through to restore. They just come through to show you, hey, you don't have to, no, you don't got to do all that. I'm going to go ahead and tip you and pay you big and give you this moolah, here's a whole bag just for you because I like what I see. Keep doing you. Some people will bless you and just keep it pushing, right? It's true. Some men will come through and just tip you. I've been there. Where some people just come through and be like, ring, 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 and you feel like you in a freaking casino. They done tip you like, I don't know what, like 90 going south. And guess what? You might not ever see them again. But they came through to give you that, ooh, okay, I see it. I got it in me. So you came here to see me, even if he goes over to the other women and to them too. You was in the cycle, so to speak. And that's okay. Take your little pocket change or your big change, whatever it is, or how much it is, and you add value to it in the spirit. I wouldn't care if somebody came through, because sometimes they'll come through and give you just one token. That's just like when strippers are stripping, right? Them dollar bills add up. Them little tokens, I think they're 5 cents. They add up. In fact, I think I told you guys there is a tip calculator, right? So by the way, if you don't know, but that stuff adds up after a while, because if you're in the spirit of truth, you understand God your God, whatever you serve, can take, and we as women, we multipliers anyway. So whatever you give me, it's going to come, either it's going to come from the webcam industry, it's going to come from over here, it's going to keep coming. So my goal for this season, I want to be having a hot spring girl, what do they call it, hot girl summer, hot girl spring out here in California, is to get off that site. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Delete it. Boom. Get off the site. Go to another one. But they could be anywhere, because we have to really make this clear. No matter what site, even as it relates to webcamming, you could go to one site and think, you know what I'm about to say. You could go to one site and be like, okay, this site ain't working for me. And whatever. And then you can go to another site and that ain't working for you either. Then you go and you can give up before your time, because the truth is sometimes it's us. I just did a video on that as it relates to webcam models. Sometimes it's me as it relates to dating. What's the issue? What's the common denominator? What am I dealing? What is going on right here? Why do I keep meeting the same guy, same energy? Again, regarding this app. Oh, it's because it's this app. And that's the type of people that come through there. Oh, upgrade, Y grade, however you see it, you know what I mean? Do something different is the point. Do something different. And so my attitude towards myself and the encouragement towards myself, even tonight on this Thursday, is for me to do something different. This week's challenge, number one, get off that site. This week's challenge, upgrade my prices. As it relates to dating, yes, we can go on a coffee date. Sure we can. Of course we can. Why can't we? Oh, yeah. But only glitch is, I got to play this. Let's role play, y'all. What if he says, yeah, if I say yes, sure we can. He'd be like, okay, cool. Let's meet for coffee. Let me think the rebuttals. What if he say, because I don't really give a damn about the rebuttals. There comes a point like Shira 7, shout outs to Shira 7 for this right here. When she says, what does she often say for those that know? She'll say, that's not your target. she makes it plain English. If they're not giving you, and this is anything applied to life, right, y'all? If they're not giving it to you, if you feel like you got to beg for you, feel like you got to over explain, especially when you reach a certain age, I'm 49. I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to, even in my webcamming, I do not want to explain. I've had men come to my shows and where as it relates, not a lot, but enough to ask, why is your prices this way? Or they won't question it, or they say, God is, and they'll say it sweetly. God is, can you please? They'll say, God, yes. They'll say, God is, can you please, this is what just came to my mind. It really sounds like they're saying, God is, can you please lower your standard for me? But they're really saying, because this is the business nature of the business, they're saying lower my prices. But in real life, the man would be saying, can you lower your standard? Can you please lower your standard? Can you please, you just, can you? And again, this is always used to bother me, and I'm getting out of it, you guys, with this principle right here. I never even ask for too much. When I look at my prices on some of the sites I'm on, I go, my prices are and compared to a lot of other women, my prices are not even all that. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. My prices are not even all that big or high. So you mean you want me how low do you want me to go? 0? Oh, I'm appalled. I need to start being appalled. We need to start being appalled, you guys. You know what I mean? Like, apart, like they say, clutch your pearls. Pardon? Excuse that. You know what I mean? What? Not more, like, and it's, I'm laughing, but I'm so serious at the same time. I'm so sick of this shit, y'all. It is time. It is time, Red. It is time. I don't know what you got going on in your life, young lady, older lady, we're about the same age, but it is time, and it's never too late. It's never too late for us to upgrade our standards, upgrade our principles, because the right men will come along, the right people, the right jobs, the right tribe, right folks will show up. Even as I'm right here on this live, 3 people coming in, some stick around, some don't, but I know it, everything in my soul. The right people will show up, right? We keep going, we keep doing it. And then we don't just keep going and doing the same thing. We keep going and we elevate a little bit more, a little bit more. And we take feedback, right? We listen spiritually with our spiritual ears and our natural ears. And we listen and we go, okay. Like I told you guys this story before, when I had a man come to my show and said that my prices were too low. I said, huh? I said, hun, like, what? He said, your prices are too low, Goddess. I'm not even going to take you in a show because, and this man wasn't even into financial domination. We're not even talking about that. He just was surprised. He was genuinely surprised that my prices were as low as they were. And again, I tell this story because I love telling it, because it feeds my spirit when I say I immediately, again, staying consciously aware, y'all, I immediately after logged off and changed my prices, because he said they were too low. That means he was more than willing. We have to know and trust these men, these people, whatever it may be, are more than willing to simply say, like I start off this live, simply say, I have been looking for somebody like you. How much? How much time do you have? How do I get more access to you? How do I be a part of your world? What do I gotta do? And again, I'll even put emphasis here, just so I'm clear, so I stay quote unquote humble. I don't need a man to come into, especially in my personal life, and bow down and worship me and be all extra. You can tell me no sometimes. You have some type of backbone, right? That part. But what I'm saying is somebody that, again, going back to the treatment of knowing of what you want. I think that's what it really boils down to. So my point was that I was making earlier, as it relates to my very first experience with a man who worshiped me in the sense of being a long nail goddess, and his tips were across the board equal to his words. Does that make sense? That goes back to compliments. It's almost like for every compliment he gave me, he sent me $100. For every time he said hi, for every time I made the absolute most. I sidebar, webcam model, save your stuff. That part, right? Save your stuff, because he blessed me. He blessed me financially. He did, and it taught me something. And guess what? He's not the only one. He's not the only one. It's not just one. It's not rare. When you get in alignment, there are some people out there, I can guarantee you, and you know this to be true, Red. There are many women in the webcam modeling industry, in the dating world, and life itself. People themselves are winning. Why? Because they believe they can. They keep showing up for who? They keep showing up for themselves. They don't let nobody They don't let no look at again. Shout outs to Shira Seven because look how far that woman. I started following her when she first got was on. I mean, I've been on for about 20 years, and she skyrocketed because she never veered off of who she was. She never faltered. People have dogged her out, talked about her, da 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 da, shamed her, yada yada, this, that, and the other, blah blah. And she kept on being Shira Seven. You know, she kept on going, 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 going. You know, made her name for herself, went over here and made extra products, went over here, did this, did that, and was always seemingly just chilling, just being her. I'm just doing me. Come on with it, come on, you know. In fact, she's almost been. I'm saying almost because I do what I do, and you know we do not necessarily copy off of people, but people can inspire us, right? I was inspired. There was hints of her. That's why I keep bringing her up. Is why I wanted to do the live and do the question and do the Q&A, you know, because it made me. I thought about her and I thought about how she postures herself in on her shows, I guess I can call it that, and how people come in and I want to get loyal to my own self, be true and stand on that. So the people, so the tribe, because again, not everybody liked what she was saying even to this day, but she kept going and she built her following and people listened. Like sometimes when I'm talking, I've been on this live for how long, y'all? Sometimes there's a place in me where I'd be like, man, okay, I'm gonna stick to the script. I'm gonna stick to the flow. I'm not gonna give my personal. I'm gonna be more professional, quote unquote. I'm gonna be more, you know, teachy. I'm gonna be this. And then I realized if I go all the way around the mountain and in red, you've been listening to me. You're getting, if you haven't, you're gathering and understanding this is just Jelena. This is the way she flows. This is how she gets down. It's either going to take her a minute. She might be here for a while. She's going to talk about encouragement. She's going to talk about God. She's going to add God in the mix to this adult entertainment field. She's going to make me feel safe, hopefully, right? She's going to make me feel encouraged. I'm going to get out of here feeling, it's going to be a lot. It's going to probably be a little heavy, but I'm going to get me some popcorn. You know, and that's, I want to, again, when I think about my whole life, and I hope whoever hears this will feel the same about theirs. When you think about your whole life, you don't want to just be tolerated. You don't want to be just tolerated. I don't want to be just tolerated. I want to be appreciated too. I want to be honored. I want to get back what I give, sweetness, kindness, right? And I want what the hell I want. I think I said that. I think I said it, and I think I meant it. And I want what I want. And we ain't got to go down a list of what we want right here, right? Good, but we know, God knows when you want what you want, nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Okay. When you go for it, that I'm inspired more than anything by me being so brave to get up and finally keep in mind, you guys, finally get to Beverly Hills. I've been saying I was going to go. I've been saying I was going to do it. I was saying, in fact, I kept saying I was going to go to Melrose. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with California. Hollywood has always been my stumping grounds. I've done music out in Hollywood. I've done my spiritual readings in Hollywood. That's the main place I'll go when I do it. Get in, get out, you know, things that kind of way. Hollywood, I start out again as a phone sex operator in Hollywood, California. Hollywood is my go-to. I am the queen of weirdos. Holly weird, here I come. Whatever, right? So Beverly Hills is posh. Beverly Hills is bougie. Beverly Hills is foo-foo. Beverly Hills is a little bit more conservative. Beverly Hills is you know, is not Hollywood. Okay, it's not the Hollywood Boulevard. Is what I'm saying. It's not the Walk of Fame. It's not that. We know that. And Melrose is more like you know, your alternative, like your butterfly people like me. You know, it's in the middle. Melrose is a mixture between Beverly Hills and certain parts. And I'm talking about the shopping areas, like the chill parts, the aesthetics, the stuff you might see a lot on when people are talking about cafes and little restaurants and stuff like that. I'm not talking about when you go way up there with the celebrities. We're not that. Just mingling, right? Mingling around. And sometimes celebrities do come down off their high horse, so to speak, and go frequent. In fact, the place that I went to today, across the street, I think it's called Joanne's on 3rd. Celebrities do come in there, and it's a deli, and they come in there, and they might be in their sweatpants, and you may not recognize them because, you know, they're not working in that moment. And so, again, being in that energy or in that, it was more of a vibration than it was an energy, and it was exactly where I needed to be, where I wanted to be, where I was like, wow, I fit. I know that sounds strange to say for me to be 49 years old, because in our lives, I don't care what nobody says, we are always looking for, to some degree, either a sense of acceptance, comfortability, safety, security, either within ourselves, externally, whatever it is, right? And if you find the external thing, that's great, but it really starts from the internal thing, right? And so for me, I feel so freaking proud of myself, man, that I went out there and I did it. And I feel like, okay, well, shoot, as me being a woman who is a California native, who's the state itself is not necessarily bougie but expensive. Why the hell aren't my, as a webcam model? Why isn't my prices reflective that I'm a damn Cali girl? Let me say that. If I don't say nothing else, does that kind of, I'm trying to make it make sense to me, right? And something needs to keep reflecting it. And I didn't say, if you notice, I didn't say anything about me being pretty or me being attractive or me being a little. I'm just talking about upgrade. And that's not to say that people that are in poorer towns need to have their prices to set to, that's not what I'm saying. That would sound jacked up. But you get me. Because at the end of the day, it's an innate thing. It's however you whatever you think. And all I'm simply saying, y'all, in this life is that I'm working on it. I'm still working on what my value is, even in this industry. Please hear me when I tell you that. I'm still, even what's interesting about me is that I'm a rarity. As a long nail goddess, again, I think I'm the only ethnic woman that is in the industry. You know, let me make it plain English. Only black woman that's a long nail goddess in natural, let me put emphasis, natural long nail goddess in the freaking business. You would think that my prices would have been boom because I'm a rarity. Why would it be here like, well, why would my prices even be anywhere? And forgive me how this comes across to my regular, if you will, webcam models, but you too, Red, finding that unique something this in you. Mine is obvious, on the outskirts, so to speak, but finding that unique something and letting that, I said that way earlier, and letting that something be the very thing that motivates you, inspire you to up your prices. There was a girl that I used to mentor, right? There was a girl that I mentored or began to mentor. She was in Italy, Italian, a girl, Romanian, I believe, something like that. And she wanted to become a webcam model. I think she was like 24, 25. And she lived with her mom, and they were planning on moving. Beautiful girl, but she had a skin disorder, like a skin, what's it called? Um, she had two types of things going on, like eczema and vitiligo, right? So she was like, "Can I send you pictures? Because I want to know if the guys will still accept me." Now, naturally, the first thing I thought, there's always makeup, right? But then if you put makeup on top of, I ain't a dermatologist, I wouldn't want her condition to get worse, to say the least, right? I'm being a mama bear about that. I remember telling her, and she didn't believe me though, and I wish she would have, but she didn't believe me. I said, you're so unique and you're already pretty. That's like 60%, 50%, whatever of the battle. Um, and so I was like, I was like, you don't know that the very thing that you have, there might be, and again, we got to be careful with these things because there are places and spaces where it can possibly, y'all, lead to exploitation, right? Right? Just saying, because people forget there are still disabled models. There are still models, webcam models that are disabled models. There's still webcam models that are quadriplegics. There's still webcam models that are I don't think I've ever seen a blind one, but I'm sure there are that are deaf, and I'm working on my sign language. Lord have mercy. But that are you guys get what I'm saying? Who are basically learning differences, right? There are, and I mean physically handicapped, those types of things, right? And some might say, well, they're being exploited, they're being this, but just because somebody has something, a deformity even, or handicap wrong with their physical, don't mean nothing's wrong with their brain. It may be a conditioning of how people perceive them and how the world, and because people can be mean and idiots, in that respect, and maybe that will make their self-esteem be tainted. But regarding their logic or regarding their intelligence, that part. And so I say that to say, I wish she would have pursued that. I wish she would have just pursued it a little bit more, because I'm like, there are men that probably would have found her again, me being a fetishist in this business, every mole that you got, let me make it plain English. My dimple piercings, there are men that just love dimples. This is not why I got them, because of the industry. I had always wanted dimples. I got two sisters got dimples. I think dimples are the most adorable thing in the world. Oh my God. I have a dimple on my butt, but that doesn't count. It's like a little say, like dimple. Just saying it. When I look in the mirror, y'all, sometimes I'm being honest. I'm like, dang, I wish that was right here. Dang, like Jesus, why didn't you just do the reversal? Okay, well, anywho, but seriously, I was like, that's so cute. It's a dimple, and I just got one. That boom, it's right, like, you know. And I'm like, why is that there? But anyway, on a more serious note, the point of it is that no matter how unique or different, like I start off this, and that you are, um, you still win. People, that is just going to draw more people to your room, you know. And let's just say a person is tipping you out of pity. Yeah, what about that? You know, people underestimate men, but there are some men that do have compassion. They do have hearts. You know, what if I cannot, you know how I know it to be true? I can't tell you how many times, well, more than a few, it wasn't many, that I've logged into webcam and I'm on my period. And I tell a man, I am cramping and I'm being for real. Like, guys, I'm only logged in to get my mind off the pain. I already took a Tylenol. It's not working. I tried to lay down. I'm just going through it. So just please, if y'all could just, and here come the tips. I'm like, huh? And not, well, I hope you feel better, goddess. I hope you feel, I don't know if that turned them on, or they just really was like, I hope you feel better, goddess. I hope you feel, I'm so sorry. Dang. No, some guys are just really taken aback, like, wow. And then we're not talking about nothing naughty. We're not talking about the obvious, and you know where I'm going, Red. We're heavy on the word red, right? Where men are into women. That's a whole other topic, that are into their minstrels. I'm just talking about your average Joe, so to speak. Here's you in pain. This is the same guy that if in real life you was, laid out on the bed or the couch, he go get you a cup of tea, right? He go get you a cup of tea. Well, what kind of tea do you like? Want chamomile? You want this lavender? What do you want? Because did you get the Tylenols? This also maybe the guy that gets you the pads, right? He goes to the store and I've had a few in my life. Trust me. They don't have no shame in it. They want you to feel better. Maybe they don't want you to just turn into a bitch, or they're just genuinely, because in that moment, these men have sisters. They do have mothers. They have possibly daughters, wives, all kind. They've been around women enough to know, all hell to break loose, or wow, I know she's in pain. This is for real. Okay, let me tip her. What's my point is that as it relates to being, again, how very different, unique, whatever your stuff is, there is a man, there is a vessel that will still look at you and go, you're still a goddess. You're still beautiful. I was homeless, y'all. And I promise I'm out of here. I was homeless, sleeping in my van, trying to make it look pretty, y'all. I looked at my videos the other day, because now I've been a year in my semi-luxury apartment. And I was like, dang, I was homeless. I didn't see it then. I didn't see it there. I'm just saying. And I looked and I go, I look, my wig look a little tattered. I was like, I was like, what? Because I had in my van, if you guys were to look, even I think, is it right here, YouTube? No, I have it on Instagram. Anyway, when I have a few videos, and so when I'm recording, I think I do have a few videos right here at YouTube. You can see, in, like, not in the back of my van, but even the curtain that I had to block off, for privacy, is hooked on. It's just raggedy, y'all. It was I was homeless. I wasn't poor though. I was working. I was a camel. I could afford it, but maybe my mind, I was like, why? Because now that I'm in my place, I try to put everything in. Everything's Chris. And my daughter's like, dang, did you pick up OCD when you became homeless, Mom? Because now I'm like, I'd be like cleaning out the corners and the crevices of stuff, But my point is this, is that even when I was in my van, these men was tipping me. Like I said, I have a thing that's on one of my sites that literally says, yay, we did it. We finally Jelena, thanks for Jelena. I finally, congratulate me, basically, that we finally did it. We got our home. Because I can't tell you how many men was like, are you going home? And I didn't have a home to go to. Or the ones that knew my circumstances and they were like, wow, okay, And so my point is this: hell, we're all in this together. That's ultimately the point. But even with that, It's about treatment. Y'all, even while we're all in this together, that's my Aquarius talking. Even with us being all in this together, we can still want what we want. And when someone is showing us signs, be it in this business or otherwise, that they don't want to do it, that they're wasting our time, that they are whatever, then we have a very much a right. And that's the part I'm still working through, as old as I am. We have the right to maneuver elsewhere, act accordingly, leave them alone, because people got choices too. I'm not going to be every man's cup of tea. He has the God given right to be like, I think I'm going to go over there to Red instead. I sure hope you and Red have a wonderful time because, I don't want to make you upset. Blessings starting that, that's going to feed me because now I know he's getting his needs met. You're going to get your stuff. And I don't want to, move out the way, move out the way and let the one that likes me, gives to me, that I ain't got to go through all that. And I mean that primarily, of course, even in my real life. So again, to the men in closing, to the men that might say, thank you for sticking in here with me, Red. It's like, I know you probably like, man, I'm so sleepy. What time is it over there where you at? But anyway, so I say that to say, so to the men that if we were relating to dating or anything, or even in friendships, even when it comes to families, right? Because there's family members. What if I called my sister? What if we were chit-chatting with my sister and I said, yeah, we can go for coffee or we can go for a snack. I said, what do you want to go for a snack for? That's what I'm gonna start telling guys. Don't steal my stuff, y'all. It's okay if you do. But I'm gonna start telling guys, I want to go, forget lunch, forget 5-star dinners, I want to go for a snack. Because guess what? It depends on where the snack is at. Oh, I like that. I like that. I like it a lot. It depends on where the snack is at. Because they're not gonna think the snack is high and a high end. See, because for me, it's about ambiance. The place I went to, I only spent $23, and the ambiance was what I was after. That's what fed me. That's what it fed me physically, but what really fed me, my spirit got filled or fed, and because I like pretty things. Hell, I like lighting. They have this big old beautiful chandelier. I was like, that's all I kept watch when you guys see the video. That's all I'm like. If I don't, with my neurodivergent self, I'm like, ooh, the shiny light. And with my migraines, I know dang on well I ain't supposed to be staring right at a light with. But I took my medicine. Or did I? No, I didn't even take my medicine. I'm drinking strong coffee. They made me a frappuccino, something another. I forget because I usually make my coffee at home because the migraines and stuff. And I think they oh God, it was so good. I had a patini, I don't even know what this stuff is called. I'm new to a lot of stuff, y'all. And it's okay, no matter how old you are, if you're new to new experiences. You're right on time. I'm not embarrassed at all. I'm not embarrassed at all. I'm telling you, no, ain't nobody. There's not a woman, not a man, not a nothing that'll tell me, oh, you should already know that by now. Hey, I can't believe you don't know that. Oh my God. You don't know what red bottom. I mean, I know now what red bottoms are, but you don't know what's the name brand, something that I honestly don't know. I know Coach. I know, in fact, I was on my chat GBT asking Stacy, this was a week ago. I'm trying to get familiar with what Louis Vuitton and not that I even want that stuff. I just want to know by exposure. I don't want to be sitting in a conversation with somebody and being unknowing. You know what I mean? I like being educated, even if I don't ever buy one. I just want to know that I know that I know. I know what you're talking about. I just don't want one. Or I know what you're talking about. I don't like it. And one thing about brands to me was funny is I actually met a woman in the coffee shop I went to. And she was a brand person that was working with the influencers that were there. And they were having something going. I was so confused. And guess what? And for whoever needs to hear this, I'm never embarrassed to be the student. And I'm never embarrassed to say, I don't even know what that means. Like, can you explain to me, again, being neurodivergent as well, can you explain that to me, what that kind of means? And do you know that woman took out her sweet time to tell me? I can't relay it to you guys now because they didn't register, but she did tell me of what I guess, you guys look it up. Hell, I'll ask Chat GBT later. But she was explaining to me what they do, and they're there to promote, or they're basically, or I guess in partnership with that particular coffee shop, and they come in to do brand deals or something with the other influencers, and they combine da 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 da. Okay, that's as far as I got, y'all. But what I'm saying is that I knew I was in the right environment because she took out the time to tell me, and she didn't make me feel dumb, and I didn't feel like I was, slow, or because I didn't none of that. So not only environment is important, even in the webcam modeling industry, because it's all tied in here. Even as we're webcam models, this is why which I'm gonna do another video on, but to throw this in the bucket, if you don't know a fetish, if you don't know a role play, if you don't know a JOI means, or whatever abbreviations, if you don't know the terminology, the phrases, if you don't know, eventually you'll learn. But guess what, baby cakes? It's okay to ask. It's okay to ask. It's a certain way you ask, because I'm going to tell you about people. People like talking about, I think I said that in the other video, people like talking about themselves, and they like, especially these men get excited to know that you even want to know. They can't even, they think they can't tell their girlfriends and their wives. So if you ask your guy and you're like, you know what, Joe, tell me more about which is a big one for me. The irony is the giantess, or giant fetish, where men like Amazonian women, where they like really big women and huge women. And, when I remember when I first started out, I didn't know what that was, but guess how I found out? Right here at YouTube. YouTube must be the place. So out to the universe, if anyone calling all of my lovers. I'm right here, baby. No, anyway, moving forward. So, but no, I didn't know what the gigantus or antis fetish was. Well, until I had a man that came on, saw me on YouTube, saw my nails, and wanted me to pretend. He was like a film director person, and he wanted me to do a short film of me, where he edited, where he was sitting on my nail. And this was way before they do what they're doing with AI. This was years ago. This is probably 14 years ago, maybe 13 years ago. And he wanted me, it was my first experience with the gigantus. I think it's called gigantus, but I call it gigantus so I can remember the giant fetish. And he explained to me. He's like, I want you to be in my film, and you're gonna thump me off. And they have this. They're turned on by Amazonian big women and women's empowerment, in the sense that we're strong and we can crush them and we can feed five full from. Look out, because here I come. It's that whole. It's a role play, a fetish, whatever. And that was my first experience. But my point is, I had to ask him. He explained. And so, if there's any time in webcam history that you have something that you never heard of, you don't know, you can say, hey. You don't say, hey, tell me what, but you can, let me give you an example of how I usually do it when I don't know. I usually just go, let's just say it's I'm gonna use right here. There was a guy that liked me. He liked hearing me click gum, right? The chewing gum fetish, the clicking sound fetish, right? He would come to my phone sex line, and all he wanted me to do was click gum, blah, 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 blah. Now, gum fetish, I understood, but for me, I needed to understand, so that I delivered his, so I basically, how do I say this? So I was able to give him the proper show. I wanted to know the details. Do you want me to click fast, click slow, clicking only, bubble popping? I'm one of them type of person. I'm one of them type of, I want the details so I can give you the best content you ever had. Okay. So I'm going to need to know, do you want it fast? Do you want it slow? Do you want me to be sensual? Do you want me to run my mouth while I'm doing it? Do you want me to smack a little bit? Do you want me to just start talking crap while I'm popping? That kind of thing. And so guess what? You guys can tell I'm a talker. This man used to often have to tell me, shh, guys, just the clicking. Shh, just the clicking. I thought there would be so much more to add to it, but he didn't. This goes into the bucket when they say men are simple. That's all he wanted. That's all he was like. But I did ask him in the beginning. Is my point. I said, when did it start? I didn't try to make it sound like I was interviewing him. I was like, tell me, I was like, this seems like fun. He was like, what type of gum do you chew? This is what he asked me. What type of gum you chew? I said, Wrigley's. He said, now I'm throwing this out here for you guys to catch it, right? I said Wrigley's. He said, what kind of Wrigley's? The green pack, the white pack, you know, it has spearmint, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, the green one. He was like, perfect. Now, he was a black BLK. I don't know if I can say black man here. He's a black man. For those that don't know, women who click their gum are number one gum to go to back in the day. Even though you can click a lot, you can click on anything, but was the green pack double mint. Is that was our or big red? I like big red because Big Red seems to click louder. Anywho, so I'm telling you the truth. But he liked the fact that I like double mint too. So when our show would start, mind you, this is all on the phone. When our show would start, he liked when I open up the wrapper. He wanted me to open up the wrapper slow. Okay. So it wasn't like ASMR. I didn't have to have the microphone and doing all this. He wanted me to open up he wasn't into my nails. Nails was just extra for him, if that makes sense. But he wanted to hear, he saw me, he thought I was pretty. He saw me, he said, what type of earrings are you wearing? And I told him, I think at the time I was wearing bamboos. So we already know where we're going with this. He likes a little hood chick. He likes a little sauce, a little sass, right? So I asked him, I said, what turned you on with this? What gets you? He said, because when he was, which we're going to get into talking about later on, you guys, where fetishes come from, and they stem usually way before puberty, okay? When in our youth. And so he gave me the story about how there was a woman that used to braid his hair when he was younger, and she would braid his hair, and as she's braiding, she would be over his head clicking, and it would relax him. And it would relax him so much to where he'd be like, you know, falling asleep. So for him, it was ASMR. It was relaxing, but also when he got older, it became also a sexual fetish. So now he has two things going on with his brain. He's being relaxed and he's getting sexual pleasure. Is doing two things. So my point is this: I learned that out of asking questions. I learned to ask him, okay, what do you like? Why do you not? Why do you like it in a rude way, of course, but in a curious way? And he was delighted to tell me. And then when literally, I was making 150, which is not a whole lot of money, but to click gum, and I click anyway. It's like, okay, I'm opening up a piece of gum. Do you want to talk to me right now? I'm chewing gum. And he'd be like, yeah, let's go. And there I will go. And then of course I'm a talker. So I'm like, man, it was the hardest thing for me to do is to sit there and talk and not talk, because he was like, shh, I just wanna. And I'd be like, so click, click. So what did you do today? And click, 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 every other like five or three. But my point is, and again, before I get out of here, is ask your questions. It's okay to not know. These guys will love to tell you. It's rare that you have a guy to just be like, oh hell, she doesn't know what I want, and go somewhere else. Because the truth is, in webcam modeling, he has that option. If you don't really know and you act like you don't know for sure, he might be like, let me go to somebody to make this easier, because that's the whole point. He's here to see us because he doesn't want. He probably already feels some kind of way about what he likes anyway. Let's go there. So he doesn't probably want to have to go through it, but it's rare that it happens. In my case, most times that men come to me, they don't mind telling me if I don't know. But I've learned the business so well now, and I don't think it's a fetish. I don't think it's not one fetish that I don't. Now what happens throughout time, the abbreviations change. Like the not the meaning, but how, because of social media, right? Things change, but the core of it still stays the same, if that makes sense. So, but again, there's nothing new under the sun. So there's nothing like, for instance, and I think I can say this here. I hope I can say it. Like edging for one, is a new term, but I've been practicing that with my guys since the beginning, since I was a phone sex operator. Men who withhold or want, who do that, but that's the new term that they call it now. So I could understand a new webcam modeling coming on and not understanding the terminology, because they're forever changing. Get what I'm saying? They're forever changing. I don't know if you're still here, Red, but that is what happens. But for me, there's not something, I don't think I've ever. In other words, if a guy tells me what it is, if I go, I've never heard of that, and then he goes, and I go, oh, that's what they're calling it now. It's that. That would be my comeback, so to speak, because I'm like, I didn't know that's what they're calling, you know, which means I need to go to Chat GBT if they allow it. I don't know if they do too much adult content of what I can ask, just to see how much the uh, the things have changed, you know. But anyways, you guys, I've talked myself to oblivion. I mean, to sleep mode, or to to what's it called, exhaustion, right? And this was great. If Red, if you're still here, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you for keeping me company, for also engaging. Make sure I forgot can you tap the screen here like you do at TikTok? I don't know. Can you tap it? Um, Test it and see for me, Red. Can you? Or did you fall asleep? You might fall asleep. Oh, Red, what are you doing? Oh, they got lighting in here. Okay, what's lighting? Right on. What is? That's different. Wait a minute. Lighting. Now I'm over here just exploring stuff. Oh, you can make it brighter. Go ahead on YouTube. I see you. I'm over here exploring stuff, you guys. Hide live video. Why would I hide the live video? I don't understand. Mute, flip, create highlight. Well, I can create a highlight as I go. Okay, 49 seconds. Never mind. Never mind. All right, you guys. I'm gonna get out of here because now I'm getting all intrigued by the technology. So I have yet to. What is this down here? What is that games? I think Red fell asleep. They got a share button. They got the chat button. I don't like that. I'm gonna figure out that disappearing act that they do here. But anyways, you guys, bye for now. Thank you for joining me. What have I been on for, like 2 hours, 3 hours? Look at me go. Bye, Red. Buenos noches. I will be back. Oh, this can go out. I'm glad, so glad it's gonna go out into a video format as well. Thank you guys for stopping through. For those that are watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. Make sure that you guys come back through. I mean, when you do, if you're here, thumbs up the video, so on and so forth. What else? What else? What else? And again, never do anything you don't feel comfortable with doing, even if they what? Even if they paid me, Jelena. Yes, even if they paid, you know, self-respect first in all that you do. And we're all a work in progress, right? Nobody has arrived. Nobody. Even the people that we look up to and admire still have their challenges in some frame or form, right? Which is a beautiful thing, right? To me, as an Aquarius, I'd say that it's a beautiful thing that we are all perfectly, quote unquote, flawed, right? That way we don't need to compare. We don't need to, feel like we're behind or anything. We just need to do what? Want what the hell we want and go get it. Don't even go chase it. That's when stuff start running from you because you're chasing it. I know something was chased. That's like, I don't really want to, I know it's like when a man chases me. I don't want a man chasing me no more. I want him to make effort. I want him to show interest and effort, right? And put forth the effort. I want him to plan and stuff, but I don't want him to chase me. I get it. I get why we say that. I get why it's been said for years. But chasing me gives me anxiety, I would get a panic attack. Like, I'm being for real. Like, I'd be all discombobulated with a man chasing me, especially admin in Aquarius a woman who loves her freedom, the queen of ghosting. You chase me, you're gonna be chased in the wind. Like, sure, like you will never get me. You never get me. Never, 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 never. Not because I don't want to be caught. It's just that's scary to me. It's almost stalkery. Don't chase me. Don't. Don't do that. Don't do that. Even the guys in the webcam modeling. When I'm logged in, I'm like, just be chill. Be chill. Don't be too. I guess it's thirsty is the word. Don't be too thirsty. Even for myself. And it's interesting because what about when you just really like somebody, right? What if you just really like somebody? I know that feeling, being who I am. I'll put it that way. And yet still, I could scare a guy off because I'm again, when I want what I want or like what I like, I ain't got no problem with saying it. I don't have no problem with I like what I like, but two, again, based on conditioning or the type of guy, I I probably done scared a lot away. Like, damn, like, whoa, she coming in hot, you know? So, but anywho, there's too many people on the planet and in the world to find or to get what it is that we truly want, without all the extras. Because when I look over my life, I'm like, damn, what a, I mean, no time wasted. And yeah, all things happen for a reason. But some of the stuff I look at my life and I go, some, I'd say about, that's a lot of percent. I ain't going to put my percentage out there like that. But it's up there of some of the stuff I could have avoided if I just didn't, number one, give a damn what nobody thought, because they didn't care what I thought, right? That part. And wanted what I wanted. I want what I want. Does that mean I'm gonna go about it in a really effed up way to get it? Some people do. That's not my integrity. I still stand by my integrity, my principles, in my own way, you know, righteous, if you will, by the God I serve. But I want what I want because I think God wants me to have it. Period. Right. Anyways, you guys, I'm out of here. One love kisses. You guys will hear me, see me in the next one. Bye for now. Bye. Red. Let me get up. This over here so I can click out of here. Uh-oh. All right, where we at? Bye for now, you guys. Da-da-da-da-da.